State in the Lions for Franklin. His 8th season as head coach, you see his record, 63 wins, 28 losses. Game number 92 today. And Mark Ferrante, what a story he is at Villanova. He was an offensive line coach for 30 years at Villanova, almost 2 decades of that, the associate head coach under Andy Talley. When Andy Talley retired after the 2016 season, and that time frame, by the way, included an FCS National Championship in 2009, Mark Ferrante moved in to the top spot as the head coach, and now in his 5th season as the head coach of the Villanova Wildcats, 3-0 this year. Bucknell, Lehigh, and then Richmond in the Colonial Athletic Association, whom they played and beat in pretty impressive fashion in a big comeback last week.
Our towns, our cities, our state, our valley, our team. The Penn State Nittany Lions host the Villanova Wildcats out of the FCS for a noon kickoff on the Big Ten Network. Thank you for tuning in and listening to my live watch-along reactions live right here on YouTube. Audio only. We're underway from Happy Valley as Penn State kicks off right to left, touchback. It'll be 1st and 10 from the 25-yard line for the 11th ranked Villanova Wildcats out of the CAA in the FCS, of course, D1 AA college football, one level lower than the FBS, in which Penn State sits at number 6 in the top 25, coming off of a win last Saturday night in the first whiteout of 2021, defeating Auburn by a final score of 28-20. Both teams at 3-0. However, right now, as mentioned, underway from right here in Happy Valley, Beaver Stadium. Villanova, hands off, 1st and 10, 9-yard run up the gut, 2nd and 1 to come. And with Villanova, of course, a FCS team, Penn State's first FCS opponent they faced in nearly a decade. Other than the 3-0 wins over the Lehigh, Bucknell, and Richmond Spiders, respectively, averaging 40-plus points a game in those 3 wins. Don't really know a whole lot about them. I know they're 3-0. I know they're ranked nationally in the FCS, but coming up from Philly, as a screen pass is complete, Brandon Smith right on the stop, though, for a loss of a few in the backfield. We'll see where they spot the football. There's 9 on the opening play of the ball game, 2nd and 1. Looks like he lost a good 4 or 5 yards there. 3rd down for Nova as they look near side to the Wildcat sideline, as they are coached by their head coach in Mark Fournette. Empty set, 5 wide. Villanova pass complete over the middle, 1st down. There is a penalty flag, so I hear, on the field here in this first minute and a half of Penn State's final non-conference game of the season before they open up Big Ten play next Saturday night at home in the 2021 stripe-out against the Indiana Hoosiers, looking for revenge after how that game ended to kick off the season last year. Now, Penn State has already played a Big Ten game to kick off the year this year as well, at Wisconsin, winning by 16-10. And speaking of those Badgers, they are currently in the Windy City of Chicago, Illinois, playing a neutral site game against the Notre Dame Fighting Irish. A game about to kick off on Fox, so we have that on currently right now as well, along with LSU, Mississippi State, and then Texas hosting Texas Tech in the Big 12. So penalty was on Villanova. It's going to back them up. Ball going to be spotted back at the 17-yard line. Another empty set, 5 wide. So, I mean, regardless of the level of football, it seems like it's all spread out anymore. They go with a pass near side right at the marker. It's going to fall incomplete. So, yeah, Villanova had a good opening play And then the Penn State defense here, sort of, I guess you could say, came alive. I mean, that penalty helped out, backed them up a little bit, and then they make a stop there on third down. And now Villanova's forced to punt here, so fourth down, and number 5, Jahan Dotson, back deep to receive for the Nittany Lions. Once again, thank you for tuning in and listening audio only this afternoon. Of course, hence that's why you see the black screen, but be sure to like, follow, and subscribe on social media. Links in the description below. Fair catch, signal for at the 48-yard line by Dotson. That is where the Nitwits will start out on offense. As mentioned, following their second home win to kick off the year last week against Auburn in a classic Big Ten SEC showdown on Saturday Night Football. This 4-game homestand will continue, of course, today and then next week as well before the New Lions travel to Iowa City to take on the Hawkeyes, and then a bye week mid-October. But we'll get there when we get there, of course, as always. Interested to see if Penn State can get a running game going today. I get they're playing Villanova. Villanova's 3-0, like I said. Don't really know a whole lot about them, but they can score. So we'll see how good the Penn State defense can be today. Penn State, first play of the game, is going to go deep. And Dotson, from 52 yards out, pass is caught. It's a touchdown for the Nittany Lions. I believe for a Penn State offense at home to score on a passing touchdown deep down the middle on the first play of the game, it's been a good 12 years dating back to the Iowa game this very weekend, the end of September, in which Penn State was trying to get revenge on the Hawkeyes from the year before, losing on the road after a game-winning field goal. Of course, Rose Bowl and all, but following year, of course, game day was in town. Game day is in Chicago for Wisconsin Notre Dame. They're underway now on Fox. It'll be Jack Cohn, the former Badger quarterback, now with Notre Dame, taking on his former squad. They're on offense, taking on Graham Mertz and the Wisconsin Badgers. But Penn State needed one play, 7 points, and the Nittany Lions lead 7-0 here early first quarter, as we're just getting started here this fine Saturday college football afternoon. We'll get into all of the other games coming up a little bit later on. As always, first half stats and scores, along with taking a look around the rest of college football coming up at the half, so stay tuned. But once more, thanks for tuning in and listening to my live watch-along reactions, live right here on YouTube. Audio only this afternoon. I'm your host, Encyclopedia Sports, Coolhand Luke 96. Be sure to like, follow, and subscribe on social media. Links in the description below. That thumbs up button. Share hashtag college football, hashtag Villanova, hashtag Penn State. Just what it says in the description below underneath the links. Scroll down, check out Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and hit that red subscribe button right here on YouTube. Little notification bell next to it as well. Always greatly appreciated. So, yes, be sure to share, chat questions and comments. Always greatly appreciated as well. Currently 4 games on in college football that I am currently watching. From right to left, with, of course, on the main TV, our main game, as always, when the blue and white are on, it is Penn State hosting Villanova. The Nittany Lions, if you're just now tuning in, 1 play, 1 touchdown, they lead 7-0. So a fast start, it's a good thing. Sort of didn't get that in the Wisconsin and Auburn wins. Of course, defeated Ball State in between 2 weeks ago. And this will be the final non-conference game today as well. Today's game is also for the kids, as it is thawing before the stripe out, following the whiteout from last week with the stripe out next week against Indiana. That's once again going to be a night game, a 7:30 p.m. Eastern Time kick on Saturday Night Football on ABC, so hopefully we'll tune back in next week as well for live watch-along reactions then. But yes, as mentioned, from right to left, Villanova Penn State, we have Wisconsin now on offense as well. Notre Dame had to punt, so all not up to 0 there. Should be a old school Smash Mouth type of game, I would think, with the Fighting Irish and Badgers in the Shamrock series from Chicago. So yes, Villanova at Penn State as the Lions needed one play, 52 yards and 8 seconds off the clock for a 7-point touchdown to take an early 7-0 lead. But Villanova, Penn State, Notre Dame, Wisconsin, along with LSU, Mississippi State, and Texas Tech and Texas. So all over the country as Penn State kicks off for the second time. Of course, they'll get the ball now to begin the second half as well as they kicked off to begin the game. So, yeah, didn't even really get to call the play. It was just a shotgun formation. Two tight ends went, 10, 15 yards and ran curl routes, had a crosser, and then Dawson just went deep down the middle on a post, beat his man, and Clifford hit him right on the money for 6, right at the 5-yard line, and walked in for a touchdown. So we're 2 minutes and 1 second into this game. Penn State's had the ball for one play. They score. Villanova's now back out on the field on offense for their second drive. Their opening play went for 9 yards, but then since then, it's gone downhill. Handoff, no gain, number 23, Curtis Jacobs on the stop. And yes, on offense, number 23 going into last week was, in fact, John Lovett, the transfer running back from Baylor, but now he is wearing number 10. We'll get back to when Penn State's on offense. Hopefully, like I said, they can find a running game today with the depth that they have from Noah Kane on down to Keziah Holmes and everybody in between with Kevon Lee, John Lovett, Devin Ford as well. So, like I said, Villanova averaging 40 plus a game. FCS opponent, Penn State hasn't played one since Indiana State 10 years ago. Before that, it was Youngstown State for a few in 2010 and 2006, Coastal Carolina in between. Of course, the Big Ten had said that you can't schedule FCS opponents anymore, but I guess that rule changed. So Villanova will have a 3rd and 11 now from the 25. That's where they started, so I don't know where the lost yard is, but I know the Wildcats are going to be coming back up in a few more years, along with the Delaware Blue Hens, also out of the CAA as well. Penn State's second ever meeting against a CAA team, defeating William & Mary back in the day, and now Villanova today. So another quick 3 and out for Villanova here as Penn State's defense makes a stop. But, I mean, honestly, really, what do you expect? It's the 6th-ranked Penn State Nittany Lions, who on defense this year, especially on the back end and the secondary, arguably one of the better Penn State defenses Nittany Nation has seen in quite some time, especially in the Wisconsin and Auburn wins, keeping the offense in the game until they got rolling. Still have to find a running game, of course, so we'll see how long that takes. Villanova punt, going to be down back around the 26, 27-yard line. We'll see where they spot it, but it'll be 1st and 10 for the blue and white with 10:46 to play in this opening quarter as they lead by 7. It is 7-0 Penn State as they get the ball back on offense. But speaking of FCS opponents and Villanova having success in doing so, now credit, okay, both Temple and Rutgers aren't Penn State, but Villanova all time has 4 wins against both of those schools. 3, of course, coming against their city rival in the Temple Owls. And Villanova this week, now crowd-wise, Beaver Stadium, it's not going to be 110,000. Of course, it's still noon kick. All the kids are probably still sleeping in. It is a Saturday in the fall. School's in session. I think everybody knows how it goes. But, I mean, it does look pretty filled in to an extent. I mean, yeah, of course, you're going to have your empty spots. No doubt about it. Especially for a game like this. As Texas gets on the board, they lead early at home as well against Texas Tech, 7-0 now. as well. But with that, and then along with, coming off of a big win against Auburn in the whiteout last Saturday night, and another night game next week, this game in between, not necessarily a trap game by any means. That'll be next week, Indiana, and then a few weeks from then, on the 23rd of October, when the Illinois Fighting Illini roll into Happy Valley, because looking ahead at the schedule, of course, Villanova today, Indiana, and then at Iowa, then a bye week, and then it's Illinois at Ohio State, and then you get it in November. But Villanova's had some success, but they used leaf blowers this week during practice to get used to the noise that Beaver Stadium will be, and is currently bringing the Villanova Wildcats on offense. No wonder they've gone to back-to-back 3-and-out opening drives to begin the ballgame. I don't know where they got the idea of using leaf blowers by any means, but yeah, I just thought that was odd, sort of funny at the same time. But as Kevon Lee gets the carry, a few yards on the run for him, but they honestly should, just knowing how Penn State operates, unless they start fast like they just did, and then pass complete to Jahan Dotson down the far sideline for a Penn State first down, so they'll move the sticks, 1st and 10, blue and white, as they'll go hurry up here. 10-12 to play in this opening quarter. 1st and 10 from the 37. Another bubble screen complete to Jahan Dotson down the Penn State sideline, right to left across your television screen, radio and audio dial for a pickup of 8 yards. Villanova should, you would think, just unless Penn State keeps it rolling here, to an extent, just from, and that passed the ball high down the middle, incomplete. 10 for Keandre Lambert Smith, number 13 from Kip Sabian, 757 country. But I'm not saying Villanova's going to win by any means, because I don't think anybody's giving them a chance. But the thing is, FCS teams have always defeated big Power Fives. Just go back to App State and Michigan, for instance. Enough said there. 3rd and 2 from the 45. Clifford going to hand off again, and okay, here we go. Penn State going to have to punt, only a yard on the pickup, unless they go for it like they did early at home last week against Auburn, and then, of course, the Tigers capitalized. And then it was not playing catch-up by any means. I mean, they led at the half. They are going to go for it here on 4th and 1, but just not knowing at that point in time if it was going to come back and bite them. 4th and 1, Clifford under center with 3 running backs in the backfield. And they're going to hand off Noah Kane, and okay, he gets the first down. As long as they just keep it moving, inch by inch, yard by yard, move the sticks, get downfield into that north end zone and extend this lead, that's really all you can ask for. And just, hopefully if they do get a running game going, it can be consistent. They can still try to stay balanced as all hell on offense as well. And then just play good defense. And the way they played defense all season, really, other than having a little trouble stopping the run, I would say they'd be all right. But Penn State is a 30-point favorite at home. Will they cover? I don't know, nor do I really care. But it'll be interesting to see how close Villanova keeps it early before Penn State pulls away. Because with both teams able to score. Of course, Villanova scored more points, but they've also played some smaller competition compared to Penn State having 2 top 25 wins in the first 3 weeks of the season for the first time ever in program history. Kevon Lee, 24 on the give. First down run for him near side before being pushed out of bounds. Another first down for Penn State. A little little misdirection. Nice block out front by Tyler Warren and Jahan Dotson. Kevon Lee also lost a shoe in the process. His left shoe came a-flying, as did the Villanova defender's helmet as well. So we're not kickboxing, but on 1st and 10, Clifford play action going to go deep down the middle again in the end zone. A little too far for Jahan Dotson. Incomplete. It was the same play they scored on their opening drive in the very first play of the game. And like I said, at least for a Penn State home game, from what I can recall, and I've been watching Penn State football for quite a while, they hadn't done that, I don't think, since Iowa in 2009. I could be wrong. If somebody knows something different, let me know in the comments. But once more, thank you for tuning in and listening. Audio only this afternoon for Villanova and Penn State for the final non-conference game during Thon afternoon. 2nd and 10 after incompletion. Handoff. There's number 10, John. I like it. I love it. I want some more of it. And, well, nowhere for him to go. 3rd down and 10. So, at least they're trying to get their top 3 running backs. Devin Ford's sort of been put on the back burner in the return game now, and really haven't seen Keziah Holmes at all this season, so I don't know what's up with them. But we didn't see John Love the first 2 weeks either until last week, and then, of course, the number change. Out of the gun, trips far side. Clifford going to step up over the middle, incomplete. They are in field goal range at the 26, so from here, it'd be about a 43, 44-yard field goal, as it looks like the field goal unit is, in fact, running onto the field right now as I speak. Number 98, Jordan Stout, pulling double duty, kicking and punting for the Nittany Lions this season. So, drive does, in fact, end up stalling, but the special teams unit out for a field goal. And it's going to be wide right, no good. So no good on the kick. And yeah, that's a little disappointing there. Especially after one play, touchdown, making stops on defense. They were able to keep this drive alive. Of course, they went for it on 4th down, and then they end up missing a kick. So it is what it is. It's still early. Still a lot of football left to be played, no doubt about it. Thank you once more for tuning in and listening. But at the same time, going back to what I was saying with, Villanova, I get on the road. They're playing in 100,000 more seats than they are used to, as their home stadium is 12,000 on the dot, okay? They used leaf blowers during practice this week to get ready for the noise, which just absolutely hilarious, no doubt about it. And on top of that, okay, Penn State's coming off a big whiteout win, so how far do they fall? Hopefully not far at all by any means, but like I said, it's not necessarily a trap game. I feel like next week's that, before at Iowa, and then they get the bye week, and then it's Illinois also before at Ohio State. But the thing is, Villanova's 3-0 for a reason. Like, they beat Lehigh and Bucknell by a good margin, and then it was close in their win against Richmond last week, only defeating the Spiders by 7. But on the flip side of that, too, Penn State, all time, against FCS opponents, they've had a lot of success against the lower level in college football, basically the second tier, if you will. Below, of course, just the FBS, but you got the Power 5, the non-Power 5, and then it's D1 AA, which there's a lot of talent there. Yeah, don't get me wrong, but Penn State's also been able to dominate the state all-time in program history as well, versus other current FBS and FCS Pennsylvania schools, and Villanova, of course, from the city of brotherly love in Philadelphia, making the few-hour trek here to Central PA, right here in Happy Valley over at Beaver Stadium, as they're back on offense. So we'll see what they can do, and if they can get something going, good for them. Out of the gun, they're going to go halfback screen, far side, and then good 12-yard pickup on the play before being brought down by, looks like number 2, the State College native himself, who switched from corner to safety, and Keaton Ellis. So 1st and 10, empty set from the 47. Penn State in a 4-3 on defense. It's going to be a run, and it's going to be a loss of 2, being brought down by number 99 for the Penn State Lions in Keziah Izzard. It seemed like also Brandon Smith, and there's somebody else on that tackle as well, it seemed like. Devon Townley Jr., number 18, I believe, if I'm not mistaken. I believe that's who it was. Nice 2-yard tackle regardless of whoever made the stop in the backfield. So quarterback keeper on the scramble, slide for that 2 yards they just lost. So at least they're back to the 3rd and 10, and with 5:15 to play in this opening quarter, Nova's going to have a 3rd down and 10 again. And this isn't basketball. This is football. If it was basketball, Villanova's definitely going to be defeating Penn State today. But the blue and white on the gridiron, they're hopefully, at least you would think, going to lay the hammer down and move on here in 2021 following today. Good pressure, and Daniel Smith, the starting quarterback for Villanova, number 12 himself, gets drilled, gets rid of it, right on the money, and pass was a little wobbly, but it was still completed, and that's all you need to move the sticks, and it's another Villanova 1st down. Good pressure by Penn State. Didn't bring the house by any means. They brought 3, and Evan Katie got to him, but pass was still complete, and now Villanova's in Penn State territory on the right side of the 50, marching on downfield, and we'll see if they can keep it going or if Penn State's going to hold down the fort. Jair Brown, 16, on the stop for Penn State after a pickup of 2 by number 36, Jalen Jackson. Make it 2nd and 8 with now 3:53 to play in this opening quarter. So, fast start, sort of cold off, but once again, it's still early, very early. Dump off near side. If Ellis would have been there about a tad second sooner, he might have picked that off and be running back to the end zone right now. Nice stop, nice tackle. As they just dumped it off on a screen, and he's right there to make the stop right as he caught it. So another 3rd down for Villanova. If they can get them the 3rd down, but then Villanova's, of course, executing 3rd down after 3rd down after 3rd down, then, well, something's got to give. We'll see what does, of course, as always, from 36. And pass near side, going to be batted down, deflected up into the air then as well, as it sort of, it was good coverage, Penn State interception in the end, and Jair Brown, 16, on the pick for about a 10-yard return But then we got a penalty flag on the play, so we'll see if this is going to be negated or not. But yeah, it will be Villanova football. It looks like it's going to be a defensive hold probably. See what the penalty call is here from these Big Ten, not SEC officials. That I don't know about that, if that was a late hit, roughing the passer or not. At least, well, we haven't had a 50-yard pass downfield get called back for a intentional grounding yet by any means, but okay, maybe. That's iffy. Devon Ellis on the hit, and I mean, you just got to move on. You live with it. It is what it is. They threw the flag. There's nothing you can do about it. Of course, yeah, you're not going to agree with it. Matt Millen's on the call. He's not liking it either. Of course, played for Penn State on that defensive line. Won a few Super Bowls in the NFL as well. Heart transplant a few years ago. Good to see him back doing what he does best. And yeah, I don't think anybody agreed with that by any means. That was an iffy call. At least it wasn't as bad as the officiating from last week. But all these zebras, all these different levels of football right now start the year off. Just absolutely pathetic. I don't get how you can throw a flag on this, that, and everything else just for the hell of it. But that's what they're doing. But once again, what can you do? Throw the flag. You can argue it and do what you got to do, but unless they pick it up, it's going to be called as it was, and you move on. So 2nd and 11, as we'll move on now as well from the 21. Pass near side, incomplete. Good coverage by Joey Porter Jr. But yeah, these are Big Ten refs today, not out of the SEC. I mean, technically they had Big Ten refs last week, but they're up in the booth. The SEC officials are on the field. And yeah, just terrible, as Charles Barkley would say, as his Tigers lost by 8 to Penn State. But Penn State in another game of cats today. Of course, Auburn, the Tigers last week, and now Villanova, the Wildcats today. The Nittany Lion egging on the Villanova offense, standing behind the end zone with a leaf blower and pass near side incomplete. Ellis on the coverage. Haven't really seen a whole lot of Keaton Ellis so far this season, but he's playing damn well here early today as we near the end of the first quarter. And that's just a bad route by the wide receiver there for Villanova. He didn't even turn around. And plus, his good coverage, I still don't think he would have caught it. But now they're going to have to settle for a field goal. So, from where are we at? Kick going to be up and good from whatever the distance was. Didn't get a mark on it. Ball was, what, at the 21-yard line, though? So 21, 31, about a 40-yard kick. So now Villanova only trails by 4 here, 7-3, with about a minute to play in this first quarter. So, yeah, we'll see how this goes. I mean, looking all right for both squads right now. Nothing major's happened by any means. I mean, yeah, okay, Penn State scored on the first play of the game. But then it's how do you build off of that? Especially how do you build off of a big win last week? You know, you don't want to just walk through the next game, now today, all sleepy-ass, tired as can be, and try to squeak by just because it's Villanova. No, it's still, you know, a one-game mentality. It's 1-0 this week. The standard's the standard. Bearing injuries, it's next man up. You don't want to look too far ahead to Indiana next week. I know, of course, revenge, karma's a bitch for the Hoosiers. But we'll get to that game when we get there. You got to get through Villanova today. But with all that, you know, put aside, regardless if they're FCS or FBS, you still just got to go out and play Penn State football. And once again on offense, that's why I said hopefully they can get a running game going. If they can get a running game going and then continue to be balanced on offense and play good defense, and this continues all season long, and they're as good as they are right now, just wait a couple more weeks into the thick of it down the road here in 2021. Because, I remember saying that week one after Wisconsin that, of course, they can get by Auburn, get through September, and then you get in the Big Ten, of course, after the way the defense played in that 6-point road win at Wisconsin. This team, as there's a nice aerial shot of Beaver Stadium, it seems like it's now filled to the brim. That will start them up with the kickoff, Penn State back deep to receive. This team has the caliber to be very special this year. They do. And then especially after last week then too, the home win against Auburn, if they can, of course, get through Villanova today, but then Indiana, and then if they can go to Iowa and win and get to the bye week, and then go to Ohio State with the way the Buckeyes are playing right now, they host Akron later on tonight, get to November, at Maryland, Michigan, Rutgers, at Michigan State, they got a tough schedule, they do, especially on the road, in the Big Ten. They arguably could be sitting, and once again, I don't want to get too far ahead of myself by me, but in Indianapolis, early December, maybe elsewhere, at the end of the month, and then we'll see, early to mid-January, but still one game at a time. One game at a time. Here, John Lovett on the give, no carry for him, as he transferred in from Baylor, the former Bear, now Nittany Lion. Got our first update here on the Big Ten Network with the Ohio Bobcats minus Frank Solich as he retired, the Johnstown native himself that Nebraska should never fired. They trail on the road at Northwestern, 7-0. Penn State with a 2nd-9. We got a good one cooking with Notre Dame and Wisconsin. Texas extends their lead to 14 over Tech, and then LSU leads at Mississippi State by 7 as well. And we sit with Penn State Villanova at 7-3 in a battle of 2-3-0 unbeatens here. Week 4, but technically week 5 after week 0. A few teams played about a month or so ago to kick off the year. It's hard to believe we're already about a month into this college football season here in 2021, but here we are. So 3rd and 9, got 10 seconds to play. See if they snap it or not. Empty set, 5 wide. They will run a play. Clifford out of the gun. Gonna dump it off. Theo Johnson, 84, hurdles a man. Gets out past midfield to the 48. 1st down and 10. Penn State, we'll see if that creates a spark to close out the first, entering the 2nd quarter of play. Of course, they'll switch end zones, but at the end of one now, it is 7-3 Penn State. Just be balanced. Keep it going. Keep it moving. And they finally got the damn tight ends involved last week, too, with Strange, Johnson, and then Tyler Warren, at quarterback on a few Wildcat plays, or the Lion, if you will, as Penn State likes to call it, playing the Villanova Wildcats today from right here in Happy Valley at Beaver Stadium in the final non-conference action of the season. And Penn State sits at 3-0, just like Villanova does. So it's a 4-point lead for the Lions, 7-3 at the end of one. But there's your first pass complete to a tight end today as well, to Theo Johnson from the Great White North up in Canada. And haven't seen any Parker Washington yet. I get, okay, Clifford went to Keandre Lambert-Smith, was a little too high for him, it was incomplete. Still no Strange. It all starts up front. Give it a block to run, block to open up the pass, block, protect your quarterback, and then on the D-line, get after the opposing quarterback. If you can do all that, have a balanced, consistent running game, especially when you need to run the football late, Open up play action, play good defense, rely on your special teams when needed. 9 times out of 10, you're going to come out on top. I don't care who the hell you're playing. I don't care how good you are or they are. But if you can do all that, for the most part, you should win. It's just how football goes, folks. Okay, Penn State, not to squash home non-conference games, what I mean. But, okay, Ball State 2 weeks ago, 9-11. Today, Villanova. Seeing a few guys here early, more so than not, Keaton Ellis on defense in the back end, in the secondary, number 2 from State College High, who we haven't seen at all this season. Now, Penn State's got good depth, so maybe that's a reason, and he's just, behind everybody trying to get a shot. But what I'm getting at is here, because late in that Ball State game a couple weeks ago, as any team would do, especially, in a game like that, no offense to either team by any means, hopefully none taken, but when at the earliest, because that game it was late third, early to fourth quarter, from what I can recall. I know Clifford stayed in, and then Taquan Roberson came in at, I don't know, about the 10-minute mark to play. And when are the backups going to start to play? Unless technically they already are, as we got an update from one Raider legend to another in Villanova's greatest player of all time, in Howie Long. And he's talking to Matt Millen, a former teammate of his, who's on the call for the Big Ten Network. They both work for Fox. Howie's in studio on Sundays. Matt Millen calls college football and the NFL all weekend long, all season long. And, Villanova's 2 best players all time. It's Howie Long and Brian Westbrook. And they both made their mark in the NFL. Of course, Howie Long's in the Hall of Fame, and rightfully so. But 2nd and 9 now for Penn State after a yard on the opening play of the second quarter here. Over the middle, there's number 3, Parker Washington. He's got daylight ahead of him, and he walks in the end zone. Touchdown, Penn State. Quick. Gone in a split second. They extend their lead to 10, pending the extra point. Fast tempo. Wasn't necessarily a hurry up by any means. Just a good play call. Good route running by the number 2 receiver, number 3, Parker Washington from the state of Texas, as the Horns lead by 14 over the Red Raiders. They had a good block. Small convoy downfield with Condre Lambert-Smith, and he walks in for 6. So they score in both end zones on 2 big passing plays to begin today. And then the Lions now lead by 11, make it 14-3 with 14:07 to play before halftime. As always, coming up at half, as always, as well. I know I just repeated myself there, but yes, as always, coming up at halftime, we will have first half stats and scores, along with taking a look around the rest of college football as well. Clifford is now 1 passing touchdown away from tying Christian Hackenberg for second all time in Penn State football history, just past Matt McGloin, who was at 46. Clifford's now at 47. Hack at 48. He's got a long ways to go, though, to get to 70, which the record is held by number 9, the former Nittany Lion, who is now playing on Sundays for the Baltimore Ravens, in Trace McSorley. So Clifford, unless he starts to go off and throws for like 30 passing touchdowns this year, I don't think he's going to eclipse that. Of course, it's going to be his final season, as he's a fifth-year starter at quarterback. But, I mean, offense right now, all that aside, looking, other than a still average running game, looking pretty damn good, I'd say. But once again, it's still very early. Ball comes off the tee. They got to reset it. And Penn State is on to kick off. Georgia going to give Alabama a run for their money for the number 1 ranking. I get they're playing at Vanderbilt. And Vanderbilt's the doormat of the SEC, an absolute complete dumpster fire, have not been the same since Franklin left for Penn State. The Bulldogs lead the Commodores by 5 scores. It's 35-0, and they're not even at the end of the first quarter. So it was a 4-point lead for Penn State. We'll see if they can add a few more scores, but 7 years ago, of course, you go back to Franklin's first year in 2014. 7-5, 7-5 first 2 seasons, and then they got it rolling in 16, and it's really been on a high ever since. 1st and 10 for Villanova. Tight end screen for 5, goes to 30, and it'll be 2nd down and 5. So, yeah, a little, like I said, I get they're playing Vandy, but still a little surprised Georgia's scoring 35 right now, and they're not even in the first quarter. But I guess that's just how good they are. They had a big win at home last week against South Carolina as well. Alabama plays later on tonight, I believe, against Southern Miss, if I'm not mistaken. We'll check in on that, along with, as always, the rest of college football coming up with half the first half stats and scores. So stay tuned. Villanova down the far sideline, and good coverage there by number 3. Speaking of South Carolina, the former Gamecock himself just transferred up. As Penn State got a lot of transfers this past offseason. That was number 3, Johnny Dixon, on the coverage. So at least it seems like on defense, especially in the secondary. I know up front on the D lines, I've seen a few names with players that really haven't played yet this year either. But they're rotating some guys in and out, just getting them some playing time, getting them some experience, which, more power to them, because, and that pass almost picked off, excuse me. And then, well, it wasn't. It's caught, and Villanova with a first down. So, I believe Trick Castro Fields, number 5, made the stop, if I'm not mistaken. See a replay here. Yeah, Daquan Hardy, 25, who's played damn well out of Penn Hills this season. Just a little too quick. Both him and Keaton Ellis both could have had pick sixes here early in this first half, but only a few more yards on the gain, and then Penn State made the stop, and now a sack. Jesse Luketa, number 40, on the tackle. They might give him a yard, but it'll still be 2nd and long for the Wildcats here. But we'll see what Penn State's defense does here, if they can hold them. But yeah, that was Johnny Dixon on the coverage of that one play. Just Luketa, who's sort of moved from backer to D end, still can play both if needed. He actually did a couple weeks ago and had was that a fumble recovery or a pick 6? One of the two. I think it was a pick 6 against Ball State. Yeah. 2nd and 9, so they do give him a yard. That's almost picked off. 3rd time's a goddamn charm. Jesus Christ. How many times is it going to take for you to intercept the ball and return it for a touchdown? Johnny Dixon on the coverage again. So he transferred in. He's wearing number 3. They got depth at literally every single position with the way James Franklin has recruited. And currently right now, Penn State's got the number 1 recruiting class for next year as well in 2022, with early signing day, of course, right before Christmas, and then the normal signing day, the late signing day now, which really isn't signing day anymore, but it's still there. It's always first Wednesday in February. But we'll get there when we get there, because who knows if Franklin's even going to be here at that point in time, if his Penn State season continues to go the way it currently is. As I said last week, especially, well, I'll digress on that thought for a second. They're showing some video footage from Villanova using those very leaf blowers that I was mentioning earlier to get ready for the noise playing at Penn State today. It's like, you probably should have called everybody up out of the hood had them come over and blare their damn music rather than use leaf blowers, and you'd probably be more ready to come up here and play than using that. I get a leaf blower makes noise, but not what 110,000 people are going to be making, along with all the music and all the noises on a college football Saturday, especially for a Penn State home game. A little bit of a shank on the punt. Penn State going to have some decent field position. I think the ball back here after Villanova punt there. But I said last week, going back here to Franklin and the USC rumors continuing to grow after the Auburn win, that if they continue to win, well, it's going to be a little hard for him to go, but then it's also going to be a little hard for him to stay in the Penn State ranks leadership analysis of it that, well, ever heard of a pay raise? Well, that's exactly what it will get if they keep him. If not, well, he's gone walking out the door. Right now, personally, I think he's going to be staying. I mean, yeah, there was a time or a day or two there a couple weeks ago, right after it broke, that, yeah, possibly, you know, especially for him and USC again. Like, he'd be perfect for Southern California. He would. He's not necessarily a football coach, but he can recruit, he can develop players, and when you all add all that up, it's still, well, he is a football coach. I know that really doesn't make any sense, but that's just how it is. And he honestly could win in the South of the Pac-12. But we'll see what USC does, in fact, do. I mean, there's a few other candidates as well. But then who replaces Franklin if he would leave, you know, here at Penn State? But got LSU and Mississippi State, Notre Dame, Wisconsin, Texas Tech just cut the lead at Texas. Back to Villanova Penn State, 14-3 here. But, you know, once again, we'll see where this season goes and what happens. I really don't even know where I was going with that, personally. I mean, it's just so hard to determine, you know, really what's going to happen game by game. It's one game at a time. You know, you worry about the future when the future arrives. Even though, yeah, you probably should be worrying about it right now, looking ahead that, okay, well, this could happen. Who the hell knows what's going to happen in this world that we live in right now? But pass complete to John Dotson. He's going to lose a few yards. 4 to be exact, near side. So 2nd and 14. 11 minutes and some change to play in this first half. Penn State looking to extend their lead here, but Strange in motion, handoff, Kevon Lee, actually a quarterback keeper for Clifford, dives head first. Gets those 4, maybe 5-6 yards back that Dotson would have just lost, so back to, 3rd and 10? Maybe a little closer to the first down marker than that. I don't know. We'll see what they say, where they spot it. 3rd and 9, so they give them 5, but I mean, Villanova's played some decent defense here. They just gave up 2 big passing plays, really. That's all they have done. They've been able to stop the run. At least Penn State's been able to stop the run on defense, too. But they, on offense, still have to get a running game going of their own. Empty set 5 wide. Clifford down the middle has Parker Washington. He turns, and Penn State's just too fast. He's got Lambert Smith out blocking for him again. He's going to walk back into the end zone for another touchdown. Did he step out? No, they say touchdown. Touchdown in the lines. 20-3. See a replay. I think he might have stepped out inside the 10. Yeah, he's out about the 7. He's out at about the 7-yard line. They're going to call this back. And then gets in the end zone for 6. But all scoring plays, of course, are reviewed. Penn State going to go for 2 here? Is that what they're going to do? Okay, so they don't even review it. They take the touchdown off the board. They're going to say he did step out, which he did. It's a good call. I'm not going to argue that. Yeah, about the 7-yard line. It is. They're going to spot at the 9. So we'll see if that yard or so makes a difference. Handoff on 1st and goal. Kevon Lee, no gain, slips and falls, 2nd down. And for some reason, they also took a point off of the scoreboard for Penn State as well here on the Big Ten Network, saying now it's 13-3 when it's 14-3. Does anybody else notice that? If so, let me know in the comments. And thank you for listening. Audio only live watch along reactions this afternoon. College football Villanova at Penn State. Be sure to subscribe if you haven't done so already. It's 14-3, not 13-3. I don't know why they took a point off. Clifford a little too high on the pass, intended for 44 back corner. Tyler Warren, incomplete. They need to add that point back. I swear to God, if they lose by 1, it is 14-3. They took 7 off of the 20 that they put up because they didn't kick an extra point on that touchdown that just got called back anyway because he did step out. Okay, they take down the graphic. They're going to put it back up here. It's 3rd and goal from the 9. I'm sure it'll be fixed. Hopefully it'll be. Empty set, 5 wide. And then Clifford going to be complete to Parker Washington again. And then doesn't go anywhere. Brought down for a few yard loss, actually. Okay, so it is back to 14-3. At least they realize that. I swear to God, I'm bugged. But, no. Penn State going to have to settle for another field goal when they've already missed one from Jordan Stout earlier here in the first quarter. So 8:46 and counting to play in this first half. Trying to make it 17-3. This going to be from, what, about 30 yards? Kick up and good. 30-yard field goal, 17-3. 17-3. Villanova's played good defense, like I said. They have. They honestly have. You got to give credit where credit's due. They just made a big stop. They, rather than giving Penn State a touchdown, of course, because Parker Washington stepped out, it was the right call to move it back that, well, they forced him to a field goal. Held him to a field goal, at least. Still trailed by 2 scores now, 14 at 17-3. But really, Nova on defense, they've just given up the big passing play. 1 to Jahan Dawson, first play of the game for a touchdown. So not a good start for them, but a great start for Penn State, no doubt. And then you go back-to-back to Parker Washington on back-to-back drives here, and 2 touchdowns, but then he stepped out on the sideline there about 7-yard line. I mean, it really didn't matter for the yard or 2 difference because they didn't get anywhere anyway. And they still have to settle for field goals. So, yeah, 17-3. But would still like, of course, to see Penn State get a goddamn running game going. Run the damn ball, please, and thank you, going. It's Noah Cain, which for, I don't know, he's playing, but he's not playing as many snaps as he's used to. But Penn State going to get into the thick of it, and Big Ten play next week as well. So maybe they're saving him, for his revenge game as well. Because remember, he went down in the first series of that Indiana game on the road to start the season last year as well, and was out all season long. And how that game ended, it's going to be a big revenge week for the Lions, taking on the Hoosiers next Saturday night. Hopefully it's going to watch. But it's been, for the most part, Kevon Lee and John Lovett. Now, okay, of course, you go back to the Wisconsin game. The first 2 series, they ran Cain. The next 2 series, they ran Kevon Lee. Devin Ford, like I said, sort of has lost his job at running back. He's still in the mix-o in the return game. Haven't seen Keziah Holmes, and then John Lovett played the first time last week, playing again today. But, yeah, just with the depth they have, I mean, if they can't run the football, one of the 5 different running backs, or go by committee as everybody does anymore, you got a serious problem, because it all starts up front. You get rid of a blocker on the damn ball. But, you know, would still like, of course, to see Penn State get a running game going here. But if it's going to be, okay, Clifford's airing it out 50 times a game and throwing for as many yards as he threw last week, and add on to that today, week after, so on and so forth, you know, going to Dotson, Washington, Lambert, Smith, and so fucking be it, you know. So, still, once again, got to get the tight ends involved. I mean, they sort of are slow and steady, but, you know, Rome wasn't built in a day, so I understand it. It's frustrating sometimes. But once again, if the defense can hold everything down, as they do, I'm expecting a defensive touchdown for Penn State at some point in time, because they should have had 3 different pick sixes, okay? One by Keaton Ellis, and then 2 by Johnny Dixon. And now Villanova's back out on offense here, 8:22 to play in this first half. We'll see if it comes before halftime, third, fourth quarter. I don't know when, nor do I really care. I mean, I do, but I don't, because the way they played on defense, if they can just keep playing all season long like this, you know, they'll be fine. They'll be perfectly fine. Don't worry. Just need to figure everything else out that isn't going as planned, or if they know, as we all know, they can do it better, they'll do it better eventually, just a matter of when. But, you know, we're going to get a pick 6 at some point in time, or another fumble, scoop and score, or pick 6, whatever it may be. Maybe special teams plays a factor if it comes down to it, because Penn State is going to get the ball to begin the second half. So that'll be at least the earliest next time Villanova's going to kick off, unless they score here before halftime. So, you know, we'll see how this goes. But 3rd and 6 for Nova. And out of the gun, back to Smith's right, and then down on the sack he goes, number 97, P.J. Mustard. Giving Villanova a 4th down. They'll punt once again, and John Dotson back deep to receive. Good pressure by Brent Pry's defense. As number 92, Smith Vilbert came off the edge, Mustard up the middle with Charlie Katzer coming up from backer. And Mustard brought him down. Another punt. Dotson on the return for a few yards. And it'll be 1st and 10 Lions from there. 17-3 is your score with Rey Mysterio, 6:19 to play in this first half of today's ball game with the Villanova Wildcats visiting, playing at Penn State in the series first meeting in 70 years, dating back to 1951. But as mentioned, Penn State, regardless of where the game is being played, versus whether it's a FCS or an FBS opponent, Penn State has dominated the state versus other current FBS and FCS Pennsylvania schools. Hence, as an example, Eat Shit Pit, Temple, Villanova, of course. I mean, Bucknell, St. Francis. I mean, that list is a mile long. They have over 100 wins against Pennsylvania schools. And the smaller schools in the state, other than the main 3, you know, in Western, Central, and Eastern PA, that are small, the smaller schools now would have been sort of bigger schools back then. Back 1850 to 1980. Okay? Don't know an exact timeline, but we'll say that 130-year timeline. But no, the bigger schools now were still sort of, as Penn State, big schools then. Of course, with football, though, because it all starts with academics or universities and colleges. And that's why you see, of course, with, well, why doesn't this team join this conference? Or why doesn't this team join that conference? Well, it's all going to boil down to academics. And like we see all this college football expansion again with the Big 12 adding, the SEC adding, the Big 12 adding because the SEC is adding two of their old teams in Texas and OU. Texas with another touchdown. Oklahoma plays West Virginia later tonight. Penn State fans with the Nittany Lions at 6 in the top 10 of the AP poll. Ahead of them, of course, Alabama and Georgia at 1 and 2. They're not going to be losing anytime soon. Iowa's ahead of them at 5, but at 3 and 4. Penn State fans, you want Oregon and Oklahoma both to lose. Now, Oregon, of course, defeated Ohio State. And then if Penn State can defeat the Buckeyes, too, at the end of October, then, well, that sort of cancels itself out, and it makes Penn State look better. The other thing, too, you want Wisconsin to continue to win. You want Wisconsin to win against Notre Dame today. You want Auburn to just roll in the SEC West as well, because it just makes the blue and white look 10 times better. Indiana, who Penn State plays at, or who the Hoosiers play next week right here at Penn State. Penn State hosting the game. It's a home game. They played at them last year. It's 3-3 Notre Dame and Wisconsin, too, by the way. Indiana, they play at Western Kentucky later on tonight. You want them, Iowa, you're going to continue to win as well, as that game's even bigger than what it is right now, a couple weeks from now. But that's why they play the games. That's why they play the games, folks. So it's out on paper, it's out on the field. If it's out on paper, everybody would do it. Second down, Clifford gonna have nowhere to go. Just falls down, loses a yard or so. Process of that play. It'll be third and 2 now, falling that second and short. As we had a 9-yard pickup on the first play. Now 3rd and 2. Cam Sullivan-Brown, number 6, in at wide receiver, by his lonesome near side, spread out wide. Clifford going to be under center. 2 tight ends. Hand off to John Lovett, and Villanova makes another stop. And Penn State's going to be forced to... Where's the ball spotted at? It's 4th and 3. Don't tell me they're going to go for it. Why kick another goddamn field goal? Hopefully you'll make it this time. I mean, I get you just made your last one, but the one before that. Kick it. They're going to go for it on 4th and 3. They love going for it on 4th down anymore. I get you want to spark some rhythm, get some momentum built up, but still, like, you don't want to try to do too much. Franklin trying to get his team hyped up. Let's go. Villanova with timeout there. 3:42 to play in this first half. That they're going to make Penn State think about it here. Kick the field goal. Take the points. Thank you, everyone, for tuning in and listening. Currently, Villanova Penn State. Audio only, live watch all interactions. Also college football. Texas. The Horns lead Tech by now 21. Is 28-7. LSU, Mississippi State, 7-3 Tigers. And then we're all tied up at 3 with Wisconsin and Notre Dame in the Shamrock Series. However, it's not March. It's not St. Patrick's Day. McDonald's currently right now does not have the Shamrock Shake. They might at Soldier Field at the game right now, for all we know. I don't know. Probably not. 4th and 3. Penn State's going for it. Clifford over the middle. It's caught. First down. Okay, will only convert. Complete to Bretton Strange. I believe there's a penalty flag on the play, though. Yes, flag comes flying. It'll be coming back for a hold. 10 yards, replay the down, kick the goddamn field goal on 4th and 13. Jesus fucking Christ. Should have kicked it on that play to begin with. Now you just give yourselves a longer field goal, and you already missed from whatever it was earlier, and then you made up for it on the 30-yarder to make it 17-3. I mean, that's a good holding call. I mean, if he wouldn't have held him, Clifford would have went down in the sack. Who knows if they still would have threw a flag then at that point or not. Now they're going to have to punt. Jesus Christ. That's why you should have kicked it to begin with, rather than go for it. But, I mean, I get you did convert, but then the holding, but he doesn't hold him, he's down on the sack. So now Stout, who also kicks, on to punt. Be sure to subscribe if you haven't done so already. Hit that red subscribe button, little notification bell next to it as well. Next week, Penn State, Indiana. Live watch-along reactions. Audio only today, but live watch-along reactions 99.99% of the time. Where, of course, it's an actual video feed. Just be sure to go check out some older videos to see what I'm talking about. Hopefully, we'll tune back in tomorrow as well for the NFL. Tomorrow, we'll have Bengals, Steelers, along with Sunday Night Football, WWE Extreme Rules, live watch-along reactions as well. And then also on Monday night for Monday Night Football and WWE Monday Night Raw. But commercial break, Penn State had to punt. Didn't agree with going for it again on 4th down. They just love absolutely going for it on 4th down anymore. I don't get it. I mean, I sort of do, but don't beat a dead horse. Don't keep just running the same old, because especially, well, for one, and really the only reason right now, when your running game is non-existent and they're stopping you on defense, other than the big explosive passing plays that you scored your points on, plus your field goal and a missed field goal, and you should have kicked it again there, so, I mean, we're sitting at 23-3 right now. If they make the first field goal, still have the second one plus 2 touchdowns, and they kick it there, yeah, 23-3. If I can add and do what everybody should have learned in kindergarten, yes, I can add, I can read and count, blah, 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 blah. But, no, yeah, I don't know. It's like last week, they, with Tyler Warren, number 44, third string tight end. I don't know if anybody remembers this. But the Wildcat formation, the line that they like to run, of course, he lined in at quarterback. Clifford was spread out wide. Auburn's defense didn't know what the hell was going on. I mean, I get, it's not like 2005 and the Dolphins are running Ronnie Brown and Ricky Williams with the Wildcat for the first time ever, but like Penn State was using a tight end, but just not a running back, a tight end. And then he, of course, jumped over the line and got in the end zone for a touchdown. So really, okay, they don't run that. Who knows? Maybe that game's still going on right now. All jokes aside, of course, it wouldn't be. Who knows? But the outcome might have been a little bit closer, might have been different in general with an L instead of a W. But they decided to run it again in the 4th quarter, and Auburn that time was ready for it. Well, today, as we take a look at the AP top 10, like I said, if you're Penn State, you want Oregon and Oklahoma to lose, because Alabama and Georgia sure sound like losing today. Arizona is probably not beating the Ducks. The Pac-12 right now is Oregon's to lose the way they're playing. I mean, really, the Big Ten with Penn State and Iowa as the 2 top teams, ranking-wise, and arguably the 2 best teams in general in the conference. I mean, of course, yeah, you still got Iowa, Wisconsin, Northwestern. Minnesota's playing decent. I mean, Nebraska at Michigan State tonight. Even Michigan and Maryland And then Rutgers, who plays the Wolverines later on tonight as well. I mean, the Big Ten's really wide open. But in Oklahoma, really, they should have lost to Tulane. They should have lost to Nebraska. Pull for the Mountaineers of West Virginia tonight. Penn State picks up a win. And just keep moving up the rankings. I mean, rankings right now really don't mean a whole lot anyway. At least in the preseason they don't. But like I said earlier, hard to believe we're already a month into the season. But got a timeout on the field. Okay, I'm going to take a timeout. TV timeout on top of that as well. But it'll be third down for Villanova. Penn State with a 14-point lead at 17-3 here right before halftime. Coming up half here shortly. First half stats and scores. But yeah, they with at least it's not a quarterback draw every goddamn play on offense like it was last year. But here we are with a new offense coordinator for the Nittany Lions here this season. Of course, it was John Donovan, Joe Moorhead, Ricky Ronnie, Kirk Schrock, and now Penn State's with Mike Yurcich at the OC. So we're about halfway there. Shout out John Bond, but 3rd and 8, Villanova. Asked to the goal line from the 6. Roll out near side. It's almost picked off again. Oh my God. How many times do I have to say it? Catch the goddamn football. But that's why all the defenders play defense. They play in the secondary. They're not playing wide receiver. It's because they're not catching as many balls. Even though they can catch, they can't. They're not catching as many as... That's the 4th time. 4th fucking time. Jesus Christ. Like, seriously, how hard is it to catch football? Sort of a rhetorical question, but how hard is it to catch football? Villanova punt on 4th and Joe Paul 409. 2:02 to play here in this first half. Penn State 2 timeouts. Villanova 2 timeouts. Don't do anything stupid. Haven't any turnovers yet, a few penalties, but keep it simple. You got a short field after that punt because defense played well, backed them up. Keep it simple. Get a running game going here. Should be 23-3 right now. 17-3 though. Well, hell, really, it should be what? 27-3? Because that touchdown got called back? Yeah. They settled for field goal. But, yeah, keep it simple here. Just short pass, maybe you bust a run. Devin Ford in the ballgame at tailback, number 28 himself from Stafford, Virginia. And just try to get some points here before halftime. I get you're going to also get the football to begin the second half, but maybe this will spark something even more. As Clifford, what the hell are you doing, jackass? Goes down on the sack. Throw it away. Throw it away. Villanova with a timeout. It'll be 3rd down. Shaking my goddamn head right now. I think everybody is. Like, what the hell is this? Villanova's no cupcake by any means. Like I said, they're 3-0, and they can score some points. And they're top 10 in the FCS, where Penn State's also top 10 in the FBS. And it's nothing new. FCS teams go on the road and upset a big Power 5, once again, App State, Michigan, for an example, and then they still get paid in the process. Penn State actually called a timeout, not Villanova. Penn State did, to make it a 3rd down and whatever it is, a few miles from State College to Philly. 3rd and 13, 125 to play, first half. 17-3 Penn State, leading Villanova if you're just now tuning in. And thank you for tuning in and listening. Empty set 5 wide. Clifford going to step up. Jesus Christ. Tuck it and run if you're going to go. Don't wait. Goes down the sack again. And now some of the boos starting to pipe in. And they can't even take A minute off the goddamn clock again. Here we go. Oh my. Like, seriously, how pathetic is this? Oh wait, it's Penn State football for you, folks. They're going to drain this clock, call a timeout. Villanova's going to have 2 timeouts and I don't know, about 30 seconds to play. Maybe this is when Penn State gets the pick 6. No, not yet. They almost blocked the punt. Ball gonna bounce and downed inside the 5 at the 2. Okay, maybe they get a safety. Maybe they just can hold them and go in with a big stop to close out the half. They should be up by more than the 14 they are right now, 17-3. Should be a good 24, 30-point lead right now for the New Lions. I get you don't execute on everything, but I mean, come on, man. Just, I don't even know what to say. Out of the eye, they're just going to run a sneak. Playing it safe. I doubt they'll snap it again. And they'll go into half down 14 at 17-3, leaf blowers and all. Yeah, that does it for the first half. Penn State here at halftime. I mean, a decent start, a disappointing ending here to the first half. They have, once again, to find a running game. And just in general on offense, play calling needs to be a little bit better. Starts with a running game, because then it's just going to open up everything else. Rather than if they know you're going to throw every play, well, then they're going to be covering and no shit. Wonder why, as Franklin gets interviewed, wonder what he has to say here. Biggest takeaway from the first half. They are running the ball better, but it needs to be better than what it is. Sustained drives, says James Franklin. Then he goes into the tunnel, into the locker room. So we'll see if they can do that. For the most part, right now, I don't know. I highly doubt it. Yeah, I really don't know what to think. I don't. Which that's a bit of a shock, I know, believe me. We'll get into some stats right now. First half stats and scores. Villanova passing as number 12, the quarterback, Daniel Smith, is 8 of 15 for only 43 yards passing. Villanova doesn't have a running game either. 5 carries for 12 yards for Covington. And then Penn State on the flip side. Wow, Clifford 10 of 14 for 226 and 2 touchdowns. One of those to Parker Washington, one of those to John Dawson. Now credit, okay, the 2 passing touchdowns are 2 deep shots. And really should be a third. And really, with the missed field goal, they should have that, plus at least 2 more field goals that they had to punt on. So add it all up, do the math. They should be up by between 25 and 30 points right now at the half, not at 14 at 17-3. That's the thing. They can do so much more. They can be so much better than how they're playing right now. They know it. We all know it as well. I mean, it's a little hard to admit and understand the truth, but it is what it is. The truth is the truth, folks. Yeah, Clifford's 10 of 14 for 226 and 2 passing touchdowns. On the ground, really haven't seen a whole lot of Noah Kane. That's what I said earlier. Some of the starters, especially on defense, and maybe this is why, I don't know. Because, I mean, late in that Ball State game, yeah, they looked like they were going to be able to drive every drive and score on them. The Ball State offense, the Cardinals against any line defense, that is. The Penn State defense of the day, like I said, Keaton Ellis in the back end, along with Johnny Dixon at safety and corner, respectively, in the secondary. Charlie Casper at backer, and then up front on the D-line. I mean, we've seen a lot of 99 Kazea Izzard, along with Devon Ellis, and then Devon Townley Jr. and Smith Filbert as well. Musfer had a sack a bit ago as well. But, I mean, once again, I get they're playing Villanova. I mean, Ebiketie made a hit earlier. Still a good pass, went for first down. Tarburton's had a slow start other than the Wisconsin Week 1 win. Really no 53 and 54 up front on the D-line and D-tackle for Fred Hansard or Derek Tangelo, the transfer from Duke. But even with as good as Penn State's defense is currently playing and has been playing all season long, at the running back position once again, yes, as Franklin admitted, okay, they are sort of running the ball a little bit better, but it's not by much. They need to be more consistent running goddamn football. They know it, we know it. Once again, it's just is what it is. Yeah, Noah Kane's not really playing a whole lot today. It's Kevon Lee and John Lovett, but Lovett's been stopped, so not liking or loving that by any means. Yeah, Kevon Lee leads Penn State rushing, 5 carries for 21 yards rushing right now. Whereas Devin Ford also has a carry for 3 yards, Noah Kane has a carry for 2 yards. John Lovett, he's had a few carries, but a big old goose egg in the stat book right now. So as a team, this is pathetic. As a team, okay, Penn State on offense, running the football, and you can hit that thumbs up button if you agree. Penn State as a team has 17 carries for 18 yards rushing. It's about a yard a carry. Absolutely pathetic, with a capital A and a capital P for the AP history exam that Villanova has taken Penn State back 70 years the last time these two teams played. Okay? Parker Washington leads Penn State receiving, 4 catches for $125, long is 67, and then Dawson has 5 catches for 76 yards as well, and a touchdown with a long of 52. So as I said, Villanova's defense has played extremely well. They have. You got to give them credit. They just haven't been able to stop the big passing plays. But yet, what if they are stopping the big passing plays in this first half, and Penn State is still doing nothing else on offense? At that point, you would hope the running game, would be live, but no, it probably wouldn't. It still wouldn't be. It would probably, I don't know, be all tied up at 3 right now at the half, for God's sakes, and then everybody's tuning in, all Penn State's going to get upset. Well, they still might if they don't get their shit out of their, or their ass out of their head, as their ears are filled with shit, and, yeah, they, it's just absolutely frustrating. It is. It's like they know they can play so much better, and it all starts up front. Got to find a goddamn running game, and then the playbook opens up from there. Yeah, they have big passing plays, but that's why I said, what if Villanova's stopping all that? What if they are? It's a lot closer than the only 14-point lead that it currently is at the half, 17-3 if you're just now tuning in. At least some highlights here at halftime on the Big Ten Network, with a few other games currently ongoing as well here. Noon kickoffs this College Football Saturday to close out September. But really, they should be up by a good margin, a bigger margin than what they are right now. Okay? It really should be a 25, 30-point lead rather than the 14 it is. I mean, Theo Johnson also has a catch for 25 yards. No Taquan Roberson passing touchdown to him like 2 weeks ago against Ball State by any means. But, man, just, come on. Seriously, what the hell? Does anybody have any thoughts on that? If so, let me know. But if not, all fine and dandy. 35-14 Texas over Texas Tech. LSU at the half also leads Mississippi State 7-3. Notre Dame, Michigan, they do not play this year, by the way. Notre Dame, Wisconsin. in Chicago in a close one. Michigan, though, later on, they play host to Rutgers, in which that game last year went to double, maybe was it triple overtime, if I'm mistaken. And the Wolverines ended up picking up the win in the game the Scarlet Knights should have won. And speaking of both those teams, Penn State, they'll host both the Wolverines and Scarlet Knights in back-to-back home games, the only 2 home games for Penn State, this upcoming November. But this third of the 4-game homestand right now for Penn State to kick off 2021 following the opening road win to kick off the year at Wisconsin by a final score of 16-10. Of course, have defeated Ball State and Auburn in the past 2 weeks as well. Penn State at the half today before Indiana rolls in next week, and then at Iowa before a bye week. Penn State leads Villanova at halftime, 17-3, in a game in the first half at least that if, and that's a big if, but if only Penn State was able to execute, and I get you're not going to get everything. But when now this is consistent that you can't do anything because they're stopping you, well, you got something wrong. And you got to figure out what you got to do to get back to doing Penn State football the Penn State way. But, hey, another slow start. I mean, it was sort of a fast start. I mean, the first play of the game, for God's sakes, is a touchdown. 52-yard passing touchdown from Clifford to Jahan Dotson. And then from there, it was a Villanova field goal to cut it to 4. And then Penn State, in the meantime, missed a field goal. 2 more field goals they should have kicked. Ended up, the one there's a holding penalty on it as well. Ended up having to punt. So there's, 9 points. And then, well, the one field goal, though, should have been a touchdown. But he did step out. So, yeah, it's just like, come on. 7-3, or 7-0, 7-3, 14-3, and then now 17-3 at the half. But, here in this second half, Penn State, I don't care who it is, whether it's number 21, Noah King, whether it's number 24, Kevon Lee, whether it's not number 23, now number 10, John Lovett, transfer from Baylor, or 28, Devin Ford, or 26, Keziah Holmes, running back. I don't care. I don't think anybody cares. Run the damn ball. But then when you can't block up front, well, then, no wonder Clifford is airing it out for almost 300 yards in the first half. I believe he's only, about 60 yards shy of his total from last week in the Auburn win, which Clifford coming off of his arguably best game of his career. And I mean, really, you got to think about it. They're probably thinking coming into this game, even though they were probably told all week, hey, don't go light on them. Go full heavy, pedal to the metal, and don't lift off. So, well, we're not getting that. We're not. It's like, honestly, the players thought this game was going to be a cupcake and a cakewalk. And it's showing. But at least on offense, and then even on defense, there's going to be a defensive touchdown. Or at least a few turnovers. Whether they end up being touchdowns or not, we'll see. But there's going to be a few come in the second half for the Villanova offense and the Penn State defense, because there's almost been 4. Not 1. Not 2. No, I'm not in South Beach 10 years ago saying I'm going to win 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 NBA championships either. But not 1, not 2, not 3, 4. Like the 4 horsemen. There's almost been 4 pick sixes by this Penn State defense. All drops. Catch the damn ball. Once again, that's why you're playing defense, not catching on offense, playing receiver. But you can also cover. So as long as you just hold down the fort until this offense gets going, all sorts of give a block to run. And like I said, no running game, no wonder Clifford's throwing all the time. But then when you're throwing all the time, well, guess what the defense is going to do? They're going to start covering you better. And then you still can't run the football, and then you're screwed. You're up shit creek without a paddle. Plain and simple. End of story. Play calling could be better. Yeah, don't get me wrong. They just need to sustain drives, as James Franklin said. They need to execute. They need to finish. Okay? I don't care where they finish at, other than if it's in the end zone. Okay? Just get some points. I get you have a lead. It's not like you're trailing, even though that's how I'm acting. But really, this game could be a whole lot closer. And I think everybody knows it too. Hopefully you do. Hopefully you can see what I'm saying. If you agree with me, be sure to subscribe, hit the thumbs up button. But this game could be right now a whole lot closer than it is. But it also right now as well, on the flip side of it, could be a whole lot better for Penn State with a larger lead than they currently have. But I'll digress there. They just have to find a running game. Thing is, okay, last year was last year, but they still started 0-5 because they couldn't run the football. Even on the 4-game winning streak to close out the year, with wins over Michigan, Rutgers, Michigan State, and Illinois during Big Ten Champions Week, and now they're running on a 7-game winning streak with, of course, Wisconsin, Ball State, and Auburn right now, Villanova for Indiana and Iowa in the bye week in a couple weeks. They still don't have a running game. How hard is it to run the football? Like, seriously, when you got the Hogs up front, from left to right in Rasheed Walker, Eric Wilson, Mike Miranda, along with Drew Shrugs and Caden Wallace, like, and really, the officiating hasn't been that terrible. It hasn't. I mean, they threw a penalty on a hold because it was a hold. Holding happens all the time. It's just a matter of if they throw the flag or not. There's a late hit that was questionable. But at least, hey, going into halftime, the refs didn't make Penn State punt on what they thought was 4th down, but really it was 3rd down this week. But, I mean, all that put aside, still, Villanova is 3-0 for a reason. Lehigh, Bucknell, Richmond, able to score points. Credit Penn State defense, able to hold them to 3 here at the half. But they still got to just continue to play good on D. Offense needs to step the hell up, long story short, with everything I'm saying right now. Offense needs to step up. If they can't, whether that's today, or if they continue, especially if they continue to play like this, starting next week, week after that, bye week comes at a perfect time. It does. Middle of the season, mid-October. And then they, just as they have 6 before the bye week, they also have 6 games afterwards with the land-grant trophy, with the Michigan State game to close out the season, where it should be to close out every year anyway. And then it's into the postseason. You know, whether that's Big Ten championship game, bowl game, college football playoff or not, I don't know. We'll get there when we get there. One game at a time. They got to get through these next 30 minutes first. But especially if they continue to play like this the rest of the season, they're going to be done for in a few of these big games. But if on the flip side they can play like they played in the 2 big games, it's like they're playing better. So, I mean, and I literally just thought of this. I don't know why. I've sort of known it, but I really didn't think about it through and through hard enough. That, like, they're playing better in the bigger games, and in these smaller games, even with a fast start against Ball State, sort of slowed down as it always does for anybody. It's like they just feel like they can get by the teams that they know they're better than. But in the big games, they always step up. But, you know, big-time players make big-time plays in big-time games. So, yeah, I mean, it's just frustrating to an extent, but yeah, if they continue to play like this into the Big Ten schedule, following on conference game today against Villanova, they're going to get their ass handed to them. They are. But if, they play big in the big games, well, then they can go out and show the country who Penn State is right now. And they're number 6 in the top 25 right now. They sure as hell ain't playing like it. But also currently in college football, okay, Georgia's sort of decided that, hey, we're going to quit scoring on Vandy just to not make it look as bad. It was 35-0 whenever I was talking about that game, late first quarter, I do believe. Well, at the half, the Bulldogs lead Vandy on the road in Nashville, 38-0. Speaking of the Zips, they play at Ohio State later on tonight as well. So keep an eye on that game in the Big Ten. Also in the Big Ten here this college football Saturday. Currently, at halftime, Notre Dame leads Wisconsin 10-3. Bowling Green also leads Minnesota on the road 7-3. Northwestern 17-0 against Ohio. Those are all the current games on in the conference, but still to come in the Big Ten today. Colorado State, Iowa, Rutgers, Michigan, Illinois, Purdue. Those are all at 3:30. Myself, your host, Encyclopedia Sports, go ahead and Luke96. Thank you once again for tuning in and listening. Audio only, live watch along reactions, live right here on YouTube this afternoon. Hence, that's why you see the black screen. But thank you for tuning in and listening. Be sure to like, follow, and subscribe on social media. Links in the description below. Thumbs up button. Share hashtag college football, hashtag Villanova, hashtag Penn State. Chat questions and comments, super chats, super stickers. Always great appreciate as well. It seems like we're about to kick off the second half of those 3 games with Colorado State, Rutgers, Michigan. Colorado State, Iowa, Rutgers, Michigan, and Illinois, Purdue. I'll be keeping a close eye on all 3 of those, along with Indiana, Western Kentucky a little bit later on tonight, because the next few games, along with Ohio State, Akron later on tonight too, and Maryland in action hosting Kent State, and then Michigan State hosting Nebraska later on tonight too. Keeping close eyes on all those games because Penn State's got Indiana coming in next week. Then they go to Iowa. And then it's Illinois, at Ohio State, at Maryland, Michigan, Rutgers at Michigan State to close out the year. Right after Thanksgiving. So, and once again, like I had said, once you play somebody, and especially if you beat them, and whether it's a big game or not, you want that team to continue to win because it's going to make you look 10 times better because when they go back and look at it, well, hence circa 2021 here with Penn State, well, they beat that team then too. So opening kickoff, got an injured Villanova Wildcat on the kickoff return. It'll be 1st and 10 Penn State. So an injury, our first injury this afternoon. Hopefully he's all right. They're out there checking on him. You can see him breathing. He's just laying there in shock, it seems like. But you're going to have to see a replay, see how big of a hit it was, if it was something like a helmet-to-helmet or a chop block, or he's just laying there. He's moving, he's breathing, but he's not really moving or breathing that much. Or what a normal person, especially movement-wise, what they would be doing while laying down on the field being injured. Never want to see an injury. Hopefully it's all right, as mentioned. So, TV timeout with the injury. Got some highlights during some of the other halftimes. During Texas Tech, Texas, along with LSU, Mississippi State, and Notre Dame, Wisconsin. But right now in the Big Ten, and then we'll get into the rest of college football as well, with a few games that have already taken place this week on Thursday and last night and Friday night for some Friday night football under the lights. And then everything still to come later on. No midnight game on the islands of Hawaii. It'll get done early Sunday morning before the NFL action kicks off tomorrow this week, as it was last week by any means. But no, right now, Penn State, they just kicked off in the second half. Injury timeout in the opening kickoff here, third quarter. It is 17-3 Nittany Lions. Also at halftime, Notre Dame leads Wisconsin 10-3. That is a top 20 showdown from the windy city of Chicago, Illinois, as they're playing at Soldier Field in Chi-Town. Bowling Green, it's a bit of a surprise. 7-3 at Minnesota at halftime. As really, I mean, you look Big Ten wise, East and West. Like I said earlier, right now, Ohio State's playing, and as good as both Penn State and Iowa are, the Big Ten is wide open. It is wide ass open. It's Penn State, Ohio State, Michigan State. It seems like in the East, with Rutgers, Maryland, Indiana not too far behind. They bring the cart out onto the field. Villanova player on a stretcher, as both teams are on knees, including James Franklin. Of course, just a sign of respect. Hopefully he is all right. I don't think they're going to show a replay. I will in the meantime once we get back to some live action here, as both head coaches are now talking to each other in the middle of a game, which you never see. But, it's a great state of Pennsylvania for you, even though as Baz has gotten and gone to shit with old Woofy Woof in office, and just south of there with the clown that's in D.C., but, no. Yeah, a lot of respect. Of course, Villanova coming up out of the FCS from Philly, play at Penn State today at 17-3 here, early third quarter. But an scary injury here, it looks like. I will rewind this, go take a look back to see exactly what happened, because I don't think they're going to be showing any highlight of what did, in fact, just happened. Hopefully he's okay. T's and P's. As I'll take another commercial break. In the meantime, we're going to rewind this and see what the hell did in fact happen, because it was on the second half kickoff here to begin the second half. There's an injured Villanova Wildcat. Okay. Villanova kicked off. And this guy's down. Oh, shit. He went on for the tackle. The guy on, his second guy in from the near side, went for the tackle, tried clotheslining him, and he just falls down. He's down and out for the count. Like, he literally just got knocked out by Rocky. That's how it looked. And he really is not moving. So, yeah, they have him on a stretcher, about to put him on the cart. And sort of got a little bit of a delay right now with this injury. So, yeah, he went in for the tackle. Gunner near side, second man in on the opening second half kick for Villanova, kicking it deep to Penn State. Went to make the tackle. Lovett did stumble, so he made the hit. But then he goes down on the play, and he really hasn't moved since. So, of course, how that went, you got to think some type of upper body injury. Something from the shoulders up. Hopefully it's not anything that's going to affect him for the rest of his life. Hopefully he's not paralyzed, is what I'm getting at. So they load him up onto the cart. Villanova's team coming over to send him off, as they'll take him right down the road. Take him, get him checked out at Mount Nittany, and like I said, hopefully he's okay. So they're going to drive from about the 20-yard line to from the north end zone down the center of the field and into the tunnel. And they'll load him up. Take him via ambulance, I would think. Down past where Joe Paterno statue should still be at. Hook the right at the light, down past Visitor Center, and arrive at the hospital in a couple minutes. As everybody, with a round of applause, hopefully he's okay. He's starting to move his hands. Okay, that's a good sign. No thumbs up, but he's starting to move his hands. So there's some sign of life. I feel like he's just in complete shock with the big hit that he took on the tackle, and his body literally just gave out. Didn't get the wind knocked out of him by means. I mean, maybe he did. Maybe he was just knocked unconscious. I don't know. He wasn't moving really, though. Here's what I said, though. Hopefully it's nothing, as it looked like a sort of an upper body injury. Hopefully it's nothing major, nothing that will, affect him for the rest of his life. Pass complete near side on 2nd and 10. And then Keandre Lambert-Smith off to the races, can literally walk from midfield into the end zone. That's how much of a busted coverage it was for Villanova on defense. Touchdown Penn State. So they take advantage of getting a little extra rest with that delay with the injury coming out of halftime. Get the ball to begin the second half. I think Penn State looks just 10 times faster than Villanova. And even on that play, Villanova's literally running and Penn State's like not even jogging, and they score again. And they're beating them on big pass play after big pass play after big pass play. One to Jahan Dotson, one for Parker Washington. Hey, third time's a charm to third string receiver, number 13, Keandre Lambert-Smith. One for him now as well. And as it now is, in fact, 23-3, about to be 24-3. Hopefully, the extra point up being good. Hopefully, the Villanova player is all right as well. Now 24-3. Not even a minute into the second half. It's Penn State extending a lead to 3 scores with 14-14 to play in this third quarter. As there's a no gain on first down, because we had the opening kick and then the injury timeout, okay? And they carted him off. The first play, 1st and 10, no gain. And then Clifford, seemed like the play was dead. Made a play out of it, though. Rolled out. Fanned Keandre Lambert-Smith near side. And just as he found him, Lambert-Smith, just as quick as that, high-stepped it downfield into the end zone for 6. So 24-3. And we'll see what happens here as we continue on, but they still got to find a running game on offense, because if not, and they're trying to find it during the Big Ten, like, I don't know, they're going to be in for some long games this season, I would think. But at least the passing, big explosive plays. I mean, honestly, who else is going to catch a passing reception touchdown today? You know, it's like we're on Oprah. You get one, you get one, you get one. Clifford now with, if he didn't eclipse 300 passing yards on that, which I don't think he did, he's damn near 300 passing yards once again tonight. And it'll be a kick out of bounds, first down and 10 for Nova from the 40. 10-yard penalty from the 35 now. Okay. So 24-3 Penn State, but yeah, it's a fun running game, but at least his passing attacks opened up, and they, for the most part, I get, once again, they're playing Villanova, and the secondary is not as good as what they're going to see in the next few weeks, but at least we know, as we are at Penn State, that they can go to it, and they can run it. So, yeah, I'll leave it at that for now. I mean, we'll continue on with first half stats, updated at least when we get to it then, along with taking a look around the rest of college football as well.
Presented by Rocket Mortgage, and for the first time, Penn State has given up a big play. They came into today's game giving up just 4
So first and 10 for Villanova.
Specifically, precisely that is at 4.19 this year. Yards per play on defense. Iowa 4.22. Today just 1.9.
In Penn State territory, play action deep down the middle. There's your interception again. Jair Brown for the second time this afternoon. So another tip ball, and Jair Brown playing deep in the secondary. Another interception. Whoa, whoa, oh, we are Penn State. He's a damn good safety. Him and Brisker, and then they got Tariq Castro-Fields and Joey Porter Jr. at corner. So I said this secondary, along with the whole entire defense, arguably one of the best Penn State's, especially the secondary, seen in quite some time. Yeah, good coverage by Tariq, batted up into the air again, and there's Jair Brown from Lackawanna for another interception. And John Lovett on first and 10 picks up a few yards. Be second down. Yeah, they're giving him some carries. Putting O'Can on the back burner today. I don't know if he's banged up or they're just holding off and saving him. 6 yards on that run by John Lovett. And a first down run for him once again on that play. So first down, move it downfield for Penn State. First down in lines. I think Kevon Lee's still getting mixed in, so yeah, we'll see what happens. But Penn State's going to hurry up. Clifford looking to throw. Can't take a sack. Gets rid of it. It's caught. Gain of 10. Complete to number 5, Jahan Dotson. Somebody other than in the return game on offense. Really haven't said his name since the opening play of the game. Has a few catches, but yeah, Clifford going to have 300 passing yards now today. Hell, all 3 receivers might have over 100 yards receiving by the time this game gets done with, too. But then, with a lead, especially late in the game in the fourth quarter, you have to be able to run the football. Gotta find a goddamn running game. As the running game, as somebody said earlier, is in fact shot. Clifford, get rid of it. Throw it the hell away. Don't take a sack. You cannot take a sack. I mean, you can now, but you don't want to. But especially late, say if you're at Iowa in a couple weeks and you do that. Game's on the line. It was a fourth down, you take a sack. Well, the ball game's over. You know, or if it was a third down, you're out of field goal range now. Can't kick it. You got to go for it. And then you're, you know, fucked even more. So, like, Jesus Christ. 2nd and 17. Yes, the black screen, audio only, live watch along. reactions here on YouTube. Hopefully you're enjoying listening this afternoon. Be sure to subscribe if you haven't done so already. 2nd and 17 after another sack. Got to be able to block better, though, up front. All starts up front. Over the middle, 10 for number 8, Marquise Wilson, who they're trying to get involved more on both offense and defense. Hits him right in the hands, drops it. It's incomplete. And so it'll bring up 3rd and a mile, which really, after that opening drive, they find a way to start fast, and now they're back to the Penn State basics of we don't know how to play football. 3rd and, what was it? Austin plus 117. Yeah. Clifford on a few yard scamper near side, running out of bounds. 4th down. Penn State's going to have to punt. Yeah, this game, could be going so much better for Penn State right now. Jordan Stout on the punt.
2 yards. The punting average this year for Jordan Stout. Just his 3rd punt of today's game. 41 on the first.
Fair call at the 9. So, okay, at least Villanova is going to have to start inside their own 10-yard line again. As Penn State's done well pinning the Wildcats deep, along with making plays on defense and then getting the ball back with some decent field position for their next offensive drive. You're not going to get that all the time, though. You're not. They're just lucking out in that category right now in this game today. So, like I said, too, earlier, we'll see how much longer some of these starters are going to be in for. Because, hell, I mean, we're already seeing as many backups as we are today in this first half that, I mean, maybe they're reversing it and they're going to do it the opposite way. Maybe it's opposite day at Beaver Stadium against Villanova for some reason. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, if I'd have to guess, Jair Brown should be done. He already has 2 picks. Give Keaton Ellis and Johnny Dixon some more snaps to get their stats up, along with Kalen King maybe at corner. Jonathan Sutherland's been out there a bit today as well. Get him some more playing time. Linebackers the past 2 weeks, coming off that Wisconsin road win, and the Ball State game, of course, dislocated with that defensive touchdown. I mean, Brandon Smith making some stops, Curtis Davis as well. Ellis Brooks has been quiet the past 2 weeks, I've thought. Linebackers in general for Penn State have been quiet the past 2 games, including today. But really, when they don't have to do it all, they don't have to do it all, you know? Like, if it works itself out and they're getting pressure up front and the secondary is playing well, I mean, this, at least with depth, because with the way Franklin's recruited, going back to him, and you know, who knows if he'll be here at season's end or not. This might be go out on a limb and say that, I mean, skill position-wise, no, but depth-wise, yeah, this might be the best defense Penn State's had in Franklin's tenure with Brent Pryce as defense coordinator. Especially at secondary, man. I'm telling you what. And the linebackers are, hey, it's linebacker to you for Penn State. And then up front, yeah, they lost a guy or two after last season, I should say, this past offseason. You know, of course, as anybody always does to, you know, whether that's the NFL or the transfer portal, so be it. They added a lot of transfers, though. More so on defense and offense, but a few on offense as well. And then they're just trying to switch it up. Of course, another new offense coordinator, but they're playing damn good on defense this year. Like, this is old school Penn State football, especially on defense. And the offense is not running it down your throat because they can't run the goddamn football, but hey, we're going to throw it and we're going to beat you that way. And then we'll, hopefully, when we have to run the football, beat you that way too. It'll figure it all out. Figure itself out when the time's right. 1st and 10 for Nova again from the, or 2nd and 10, excuse me, from 25. And 3 yards before Tangelo and Sutherland make the stop for the Penn State blue and white defense. Here, under 10 minutes to play in this 3rd quarter, as we're back to the action in all 4 of these games now this second half. As with a 3rd and 5 from the 29. Penn State brings some pressure, a shot as Daquan Hardy almost picked it off, but a spear from number 1, Jaquan Brisker, taking out number 12, Villanova's starting quarterback, and Daniel Smith. Here comes the boom. Yeah. No helmet to helmet. Those SEC refs might have thrown targeting on that for all we know, but that was a good damn defensive play right there. Villanova on the punt. From the 40, Jahan Dotson on the return. Going to get out past midfield for about a return of 12, maybe 15 yards. It'll be 1st down Penn State with 9:06 to play here in the 3rd quarter from there. Looking to once again extend their lead from the 21-point lead it currently sits at 24-3, even though could be a whole lot worse, but also could be a whole lot better. That's just how this game's going. It really should be a whole lot better than it is. Like, really, right now, they should probably have close to 40 points on the scoreboard with under 10 to play in the 3rd quarter. Hell, they might not even score 40 by the time this game's over with now. Run the ball. Kevon Lee near side. About a yard or so for him, maybe 2. So next commercial break, we'll get back to stats and scores. See what else is going on in college football as well. So once again, thank you for tuning in and listening. Like, follow, and subscribe on social media. Links in the description below. 2nd and 10. John Dotson, Parker Washington, Andre Lambert Smith, your receivers. Brent Strange in at tight end. Kevon Lee to the left to Clifford. He's going to dump it off on the screen to him. Kevon Lee going to be brought down right away. Maybe a yard or so. They actually didn't even give him a gain at all on that 1st down and 10 run. So 2nd and 10. And then now they might have given him a yard or so on that. I don't know. We'll see. Update with Minnesota. Now, taking a lead at home against Bowling Green. They only trailed by 3, 10-7, which that's a shame. But I guess that might be the way this weekend's going to go in college football. There's going to be a lot of close games with a lot of teams that really should be blowing everybody out. Pass, come on, catch the damn football, and it's picked off by Villanova. Jesus Christ. 10 for Andre Lambert Smith. Hit him in a few different spots. Tried to catch it again. Just basically tipped it to the defender so he could catch it for a pick. And just as Villanova's thrown 2 interceptions, well, now Penn State's on the board with one of their own. So 3 total turnovers. No defensive touchdowns, though, even though I still feel Penn State's going to get one by the end of this game, just the way everything's going. But we'll see if Villanova now can capitalize off of that and try to move the ball, as they've sort of been able to move the ball this second half, but then still having to punt. With Penn State's defense, of course, holding it down and forcing those punts. See if they can capitalize off that interception and drive and try to cut this lead, get some more points on the board for them, and then we'll go from there. So Villanova, they got their own turnover chain there, it looks like, with the big Villanova V logo and the Wildcat. As the handoff goes to number 1, Villanova's starting running back this afternoon in Justin Covington, as they also have number 28, D. Will Barley, and number 36, Jalen Jackson, who will have also got a few carries this afternoon as well. A little miscommunication on the snap. 2 running backs literally ran into each other as the quarterback had the football. And yeah, that was dead from the start. And then Smith ends up just going down for a loss of 2 yards, it looks like, in the backfield. So 2nd and 12 for Nova.
Penn State has one score here in the second half. It was 17-3 at halftime. Penn State scored in their first play from scrimmage today. A 52-yard pass just 2 minutes into the game after Villanova had a 3-and-out. That went to Jahan Dotson. 5 straight games with a receiving touchdown now for Jahan Dotson.
Villanova near side, Kalen King, the twin brother of number 41, Kobe King, 2 true freshman defenders for Penn State on the coverage. Kalen's playing more than Kobe is. Pass incomplete, 3rd down and 12. Of course, you still have the 4-game rule in which you can play in up to 4 games and still redshirt. So we'll see how much that plays out this season for Penn State, as the Undertaker has returned from the dead, as Ebiketie is going to get to Daniel Smith, take him down on the sack back at the 32-yard line, and 4th down. There's another sack for the Penn State defense today as well. Mustipher with 1, Ebiketie now with 1 as well. Who's next? 4th down, Villanova on to punt. And see if Penn State now can capitalize off of some. Of course, he goes back to the interception, and they can't capitalize, but just from a big play. And then on the return, Marquise Wilson, number 8 on the return. Seems like Dawson's day is done in the return game. Marquise Wilson brought down right away. It'll be 1st and 10. Penn State up 24-3 at home against Villanova here midway through the 3rd quarter. So, yeah, we'll see if that big sack sparks something or not. Because if they just hold on to win 24-3 here, or barely do anything else, even if they do score again, like, that's a sign of what bad's still yet to come for Penn State this season. That's what I said. They're going to get their ass handed to them if they continue to play like this all season long. Especially when they still got to go to Iowa State, Michigan State. Okay, they get Indiana along with Michigan at home. And then there's not going to be no cakewalk, as it's not today as they thought it probably would be against Villanova, along with Illinois. Got to go to Maryland too, by the way, and then even Rutgers. So, yeah, this, I don't know, man. Just frustrating. Really frustrating. Especially the way they played past few weeks. Now, credit. Okay, I get they're leading, but still, like, once again, they know as much as we do that they could be playing 10 times better than they are. As long as the defense is playing the way they are, keeping them in the game, if it's going to be close in big games moving forward until the offense gets rolling. Hey, the passing game's there, but they still have to find an RUNNINGGAME. If you don't know how to spell or even listen to what I just said, Penn State football with Noah Kane, Kevon Lee, John Lovett, in reverse order from Lovett back to Kane with Lee in the middle. That's how it's been today. And then even Devin Ford and Keziah Holmes. Run the damn football. I don't care who it is, like I said. They have 5 running backs they can run with. Clifford tucking run as well. Maybe, a few end arounds with, whether it's Dotson, Washington, Kendry Lambert Smith. Saw Cam Sullivan Brown out there a little bit ago, too. Theo Johnson has 1 catch. No tight ends involved today. They, decided to use it all last week against Auburn. It's we're going to wait again and go 1 game on, few off, and then go back to tight ends then. They still don't have a goddamn fucking running game, though. Jesus Christ. Levitt on the give. At least, okay, he got double-digit yardage on that for a first down run, but still, even with 24-3 lead, it shouldn't be like this, because any other game, 24-3, that's good, but they really should have almost double the current point they have on the scoreboard. So, I know, I kept talking. That's what I do. And we'll get back to stats and scores momentarily. Clifford going to go deep near side. Has a man. Speak of the devil. There's number 6, Cam Sullivan Brown. Good coverage, I thought, by Villanova. They do throw the penalty flag. It's going to be defensive pass interference, it looks like. 15 yards, automatic first down. First PI we've seen today. It's a PI, hold, late hit. At least know, hey, once again, intentional grounding on a 50-yard pass that was incomplete. And then on the same drive that, yeah, it's really 3rd down, but we're saying it's 4th down and we're going to make your ass punt. Okay, there's 2 fouls. There's one that's declined, and then there's a pass interference. That's enforced, of course, 15 yards, automatic first down for Penn State. So really now, knocking on the door, if you can't punch it in, you got something wrong with you. Okay, the first one was offside. That's declined. They take the bigger penalty. The 15-yard over the 5, but even the pass interference was downfield anyway, so. Inside the 40, 1st and 10. I mean, good to see John Lovett getting some starting reps at running back. Had a tremendous career at Baylor. And transferring in, along with all the other Penn State transfers from this past offseason, and didn't play the first 2 games. Played a little bit last week. Didn't really know who the hell he was at first because I knew he was number 23, not number 10. But he's getting the load today, that's for sure. Out of the gun, gets the carry. Waits for a hole to open up. 2.5, maybe 3 yards on the run. 3:50 to play in the 3rd quarter. So, chunk yards. And then eventually he'll break one, hopefully. Inch by inch, yard by yard, and just keep moving. Pass complete to the motion man, number 6, Cam Sullivan Brown. What can Brown do for you? Well, he just picked up a first down for Penn State on that play. First down in the Alliance. From the 23-yard line, Villanova with a sub. Clifford's not Aaron Rodgers, though. Pump fake. Clifford deep downfield, back corner, far side, intended for Tyler Warren. Incomplete. They ran that earlier. It didn't work. Didn't work now. Don't run it again. Franklin talking with the officials. Wisconsin touchdown. They are about to tie it up against Notre Dame. That game is on Fox. Screen complete to Lovett. Nice block by Brown. And they're going to get him on a hold. That's probably a good penalty. Yeah. That's a good 10-yard penalty hold. Yeah, come on. He knew it. Everybody in the stadium, along with everybody watching home, knew it. And then they threw the late flag, and 10 yards, they'll replay it down. Because if he doesn't hold him, he doesn't get that extra few yards on the run, on the screen pass, for some yak yards. Holding on Penn State, 10 yards, replay, what was it, second down? Yeah, second down, Penn State. Yeah. I don't know why people don't like Matt Millen as a color commentator. I mean, he's not the general manager of the Detroit Lions anymore by any means, but yeah, it's a good hold. They could have got Bretton Strange on a hold too if they wanted to. No, he's good in the booth. Of course, worked for ESPN for a little while, and then now with Fox, and then it took some time off a couple years ago as he was battling a heart issue. Got a heart transplant as a Christmas gift on Christmas Eve a few years back as well. And like I said earlier, good to see him back doing well, the former Nittany Lion and Raider, Redskin, and 49er that has a few Super Bowls to his name as well. Trips near side on a 3rd and 10 for Penn State from the 23-yard line. Love it to the right of Clifford, who's in the gun. Lambert Smith's top of your screen. Clifford down the middle of the end zone, caught touchdown. Parker Washington, another 6, make it 7 for Penn State to extend to 3rd and 3. Extra point to come from Jordan Stout. As Sean Clifford now has 4 passing touchdowns on the afternoon. Of course, the field goal, and then a field goal that they missed, plus another couple field goals they probably should have had on a few punts that they had to punt on. Yeah. That just broke 30. They really should have broke 40, maybe 45, 50 right now, but I'll digress. 30-3 with 1:58 to play in third. See if they can break the 44 they put up at home 2 weeks ago against Ball State. So they got 16:58 to play. 31-3. Because if so, of course, it would be most points they've scored all season long in one single game. As, of course, they scored 16 in a 16-10 win at Wisconsin to start the year off. And then it was 44-13 in their win against the MAC champions from last year in Ball State. And then it was a 28-20 win last week in the whiteout against Auburn. And then you add the 31 into the total with another quarter to play. You get an average of about 30 points a game, Penn State's averaging. So if only, I know, as mentioned, they're not going to get to it all the time, but if only they could always capitalize and execute every little small detail, every little thing. Right, really, honestly, right now, they'd have 50 points on the board. They would. It's touchback on the kick, 31-3. Penn State with another update. Here's the Wisconsin passing touchdown. Yes, all tied up at 10 with 10 minutes to play in the third quarter. Right? They got a lot of time left. 10-10 Irish and Badgers. 49-14 Texas. Holy shit. They're pissed off still about that Arkansas loss a few weeks ago. Hogs and the Lone Star State today as well, taking on Texas A&M. That'll be played from Jerry's World, AT&T Stadium, home of the Cowboys. Villanova, deep ball near side, incomplete. Good coverage by Castro Fields. Honestly, seriously, right now, why the starter's still in? Clifford has 4 passing touchdowns. 1 to Jahan Dotson on the first play of the game. take an early 7-0 lead. Keandre Lambert-Smith has one. Now Parker Washington has two. Hell, he has 148 yards receiving. Clifford, 17-24 for 366, 4 touchdowns and a pick. And then Daniel Smith for Villanova doesn't even have 100 yards passing and an interception. Nice tackle there by Charlie Katzer as Villanova gets about 2. But yeah, we're here at the end of the third quarter. About a minute and a half to play in the third. 31-3 lead. Put Taquan Roberson in at quarterback. Give him some playing time here. I'd put Keziah Holmes in at running back if possible, because we've seen everybody else today. And then go down your depth chart at receiver. Tight ends are probably going to stay the same. And then even on defense, they've been switching guys in and out, rotating them in and all that up front on the D-line and in the secondary all game anyways. So, I mean, just continue to do that too. And just get out safe and sound. Get out injury-free, and karma's a bitch, Indiana. Revenge next Saturday night. 4th and 8 for Nova. Low snap. They get the punt up and away. And it's going to go out of bounds. We'll see where they spot it. I think right at midfield. In Villanova territory. They're still going down the sideline. It'll be some great, arguably the best starting field position for Penn State this afternoon on their next upcoming drive here. No, but yeah, once more here at the end of the third quarter now, we will for sure, 100%, mark my words. No, I lied about it, I don't know, once or twice. I mean, sort of still talking about it, but we will get to some stats and scores now coming up shortly. So stay tuned. And once more, thank you for tuning in and listening. From the 42, 1st and 10, Penn State. Clifford still in the ball game. Pass near side, caught by Dotson inside the 15. First down, Penn State. Gets up, limping a little bit. Hopefully he's okay. Should be all right. They're going to go hurry up. They got 49 seconds and less than 20 yards to punch it in. So they can do that before the end of the third. See, because this, I mean, if they're going to go like this and try to make up for it, okay, if it works out, it works out. But then if they try to do, something too fast and it bites them and they turn it over or penalty on play or whatever the case may be, if they're just trying to do too much and it hurts and they shoot themselves in the foot, well, then that's their own damn fault. That'll be the final play of the third quarter. They're going to go down to the north end zone for the fourth, and Penn State will have a 2nd and 7. Up 31-3. So about right on time, fast-paced, fast-moving noon kickoff with Villanova and Penn State here as we hit 2:30 on the East Coast. This game should be over by 3 o'clock. Quarter after 3 at the latest. But currently in college football, do we have any other games at the end of the third quarter, or does Villanova Penn State beat everybody at the punch? Mizzou Boston College, end of 3. Richmond Virginia Tech's already in the fourth quarter, so the answer is no. Wagner at Temple, end of third quarter as well. Army leads Miami, Ohio, early fourth quarter. No, but now, okay. Stats and scores, Villanova, Penn State. And we'll recap all this post-game as well, so stay tuned. But Daniel Smith for Villanova, he's 10 of 23 for 84 passing yards. On the ground, Jackson has 21 rushing yards. Covington has 15 yards rushing as well. Whereas Penn State, at least John Lovett in this second half, has found a running game out of the zone. And because Kevon Lee still has a 7 carries, 21 yards he had earlier. There's been no Noah Kane or Devin Ford today in the backfield, basically, even though they have played. Just haven't run the football. Or even if they haven't been able to run the football. But Clifford, he is 18 of 25 for 396 passing yards, 4 touchdowns, and an interception. John Lovett, 10 carries for 44 yards. Kevon Lee, 7 carries for 21 yards. And then Penn State receiving. Parker Washington, 5 catches, $148, 2 touchdowns. Jahan Dotson, 7 catches, $117, and a touchdown. Keandre Lambert-Smith has 1 catch for 83 yards down the near sideline. Second play, I should say, of the second half. So first play of the game, they score on a passing touchdown. Second play of the second half, they score on a passing touchdown as well. Following that Villanova injury with the player being carted off. Yeah, Lambert-Smith, 1 for 83 on a score. Theo Johnson, catch for 25 yards. Cam Sullivan-Brown, catch for 12 yards as well. Strange, for 1 for 9 for him too. But currently right now in the world of college football, Georgia, end of third quarter, they lead at Vanderbilt 55-0 now. 31-3 here, Penn State leading Villanova, all tied up Notre Dame and Wisconsin at 10 apiece midway through the third. LSU on the road at Mississippi State, 21-10. Boston College, 27-17 at home in a ACC-SEC showdown, leading Mizzou, 27-17, early fourth quarter, without their starting quarterback in Phil Jurvakovic. Central Michigan at home trails Florida International by 10, 20-10. Pitt, following their home loss against Western Michigan, losing 44-41 last week, they lead from the Steel City at Heinz Field against New Hampshire, scoring 70 in the process of doing so, as they just at the end of the third quarter as well. Pitt leading 70-7, but now Penn State, the best team in all of Pennsylvania, leads Villanova 31-3, 4th and 1 out of the Wildcat line formation. Tyler Warren, direct snap to him, punches himself back into the end zone for another touchdown, and Penn State extends their lead again, 37-3. Did Villanova not see that Penn State ran that a few times last week, and they also scored a touchdown on it last week against Auburn? And they literally just ran the same play on you again. And from inside the 5, 3-yard touchdown run for number 44, the third-string tight end, Tyler Warren, gets in the end zone for 6. Stout on for the extra point, make it 38-3. Kick up and good. 38-3, Penn State with 13:58 to play. Clifford just eclipsed 400 passing yards. He'll be done. Put in Taekwon next time you're on offense. Maybe even giving the Canadian crippler himself, Christian Veilleux, some action here against Villanova. Villanova's played well. They have. They just couldn't stop any of the passing attack from Penn State. None whatsoever. And then Penn State here in the second half sort of has found a running game, but still not really. Hopefully they can build off it, though, but need a touchdown, an extra point to get to 45. Most points, of course, score all season, but we'll see if they get that or not. Villanova at Penn State. This game's over with, but and the Lions are going to get the 4-0. So got some time left, but this game's over. There's no way how they're coming back and winning. Got also right now Texas Tech, Texas, along with the LSU, Mississippi State, and Notre Dame, Wisconsin on. It's Currently also right now in college football, as mentioned, as we were going over some stats and scores just a minute ago, before Penn State scored again. Pitt, 70-7 at home against New Hampshire. So I guess all three big Power 5 Pennsylvania schools, with Penn State hosting Villanova, Pitt hosting New Hampshire, and Temple hosting Wagner, they all today, this final Saturday in September 2021 for college football, decided to schedule FCS teams for some reason. Richmond, who Villanova defeated last week, 34-27, they trail at Virginia Tech 21-10. Bowling Green has retaken the lead at Minnesota 14-10. So the Golden Gophers might be in for a big upset, even though technically I guess it even wouldn't be that big of an upset. But a MAC school beating a Big Ten school, that's a big deal. Penn State's had it happen to them a few times, don't get me wrong. But, once again, that's why they play games. It's not on paper, it's not on field. But, also, MAC, Big Ten, well, Northwestern can break even in that category. They're going to win over Ohio. It's 20-0 Wildcats over the Bobcats. So that must be another instance, another requirement that you have to have this week for college football. If your team mascot involves a cat, you have to play another team that has a cat nickname in their team name as well, because Northwestern Wildcats, Ohio Bobcats, it's 20-0 Cats over the Cats. SMU, TCU in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. It'll be the Mustangs leading the Horned Frogs 35-27. Texas 56-28 over Texas Tech. So no defense being played in the Big 12 as thought. Temple 34-7 over Wagner. Army 23-10 over Miami, Ohio. Boise State 17-0 at an undefeated Utah State. Miami, they are delayed, I'd assume, due to weather down South Beach, 49-0 against Central Connecticut State Tech University College for the blind. But also Coastal Carolina, they lead UMass 36-0. Western Michigan at home, they lead San Jose State 6-3. Game just got underway though. Toledo 7-3 at Ball State. Toledo almost beat Notre Dame. Penn State beat Wisconsin. Penn State also beat Ball State, and Wisconsin's tied up with Notre Dame at 10 right now. Third down for Villanova. We also got Eastern Michigan, who also played Wisconsin 2 weeks ago. Wisconsin was off last week. 14-0 Eastern Michigan over Texas State. And then Maine and Northern Illinois tied up at 0, just kicked off though. And then in the Pac-12, Washington State and Utah just got underway. And then we'll continue to preview what's to come in college football later on tonight. But right now, Villanova, Penn State, the Nittany Lions lead 38-3. They're going to give them a good spot on that third down and 3. He was just about a half yard shy, but I guess these Zebras feel bad for the Villanova Wildcats down 38-3. Just giving them, a few more reps here to get something on. I guess he did reach for the first down marker and did get the first down anyway. So take back what I just said there. But first down and 10 for Villanova.
Had been made because that's an act common to the game, stretching the ball for the line of game for first down, that you wouldn't have to complete the catch on the ground. As Todd Summers,
Keaton Ellis on the stop for Penn State. As yes, this is an audio-only live watch-along reaction live right here on YouTube. Thanks for tuning in and listening. Normally, yes, it is an actual live feed. Go back, check out some previous videos. You'll see what I'm talking about. But audio only this afternoon. Be sure to tune back in tomorrow, though, for more live watch-along reactions in the NFL. And next week for Penn State and Indiana.
First down again for Villanova.
Not IUP, not the Crimson Hawks, the Hoosiers from Bloomington.
Which would mean Penn State would tighten their coverage just a tad.
First and 10 for Villanova from the 45-yard line. Nice sack. Who was that? 99, Keziah Izzard. They're going to throw a penalty flag on it for a horse collar. Good sack. Nice tackle. Yeah, he grabbed him from the collar and pulled him down. Didn't really necessarily pull him down. He just grabbed him by the collar and then tackled him. That's not necessarily what that foul is. The ref's right there, though, and then he tackled him right away, too. So I guess they could say horse collar. I guess they pick up the flag. There is no penalty. Or it was a penalty. It was on Villanova. They're back up. Or no, there was no penalty. There was a sack. That's right. Yeah, no shit. What am I smoking? I'll never smoke weed with Willie again, I'll tell you that. No. Screen on the dump off near side. Get back a few of those yards they lost on the sack. Yeah, nice tackle there by Keziah Izzard. Keziah Izzard the Lizard getting after Daniel Smith. He has a sack. PJ Musfer has a sack. Busted coverage by Kalen King, and Villanova is going to walk into the end zone for a touchdown. Nice pass play, nice touchdown. Yep. You hit it on the head, Matt Millen. Number 4, Kalen King. True freshman DB. Yeah, he got beat. That went from number 12, Daniel Smith, to number 19, Rajon Pringle. Doritos are better, but Pringle in the end zone over at Beaver Stadium, right here in Happy Valley. 38-10 now. See if they can make it 45-10. It was 44-13 Ball State. Really, they should have about 50 points on the board right now, but if not more than that, for God's sakes. But it is what it is. So I'll digress. Got a good game going in Chicago with Wisconsin and Notre Dame. As Jack Cohn, the former Badger quarterback, who's now with the Fighting Irish, out injured. Wisconsin with some pressure. Fumble on the sack. Wisconsin recovers. Badger football as the Badgers in their road whites. Notre Dame, their home uniforms. The Golden Domers themselves. Tweaking the unis a little bit as it is the Shamrock Series. They're all still tied up at 10, though, as they near the end of the third quarter. So, yeah, those are the current scores that I named off a little bit ago, but still to come in college football. As Penn State hosts Indiana next week, the Hoosiers are playing at Western Kentucky later on tonight. Penn State plays at Iowa the following week, though. Hawkeyes coming up in about 45 minutes or so, 3:30 on FS1. They host the Rams of Colorado State, led by Steve Dazio, who have already this season lost to an FCS opponent in South Dakota State. So Colorado State, Iowa, good one on CBS with Texas A&M and Arkansas, the Aggies and the Hogs in the SEC West. Clemson, NC State, along with Iowa State, Baylor. Rutgers, Michigan, 3:30 on ABC. That should be a good one with the Scarlet Knights and Wolverines, see if Michigan can keep their running game going. As last year, that game, I believe, like I said earlier, went to either double or triple overtime before Michigan picked up a big road win and the short and condensed 8-9 game regular season with Big Ten Champions League for the Big Ten. University of Texas San Antonio and Memphis. That's another game with 2-3-0 unbeatens. Louisville, Florida State. Seminoles trying not to get to 0-4. I'll go Louisville. Yeah. Give me the Cards over Mike Norvell's FSU Tomahawk Chop. Illinois, Purdue, 3:30 on the Big Ten Network, coming up after this Villanova Penn State matchup. Also 3:30 on the Big Ten Network, depending on where you're at, of course. Kent State, Maryland. And then also Wyoming, UConn. Cowboys should win that. UConn is a disgrace to college football. Absolutely should be sent down to like Division 13. Towson, San Diego State, Georgia State, Auburn, who Penn State defeated last week. Kansas and Duke, Arkansas State and Tulsa. And then we get into the nightcap with all the games 6 p.m. Eastern and later. Taquan Roberson in the ball game at quarterback for Penn State. Pass complete to Marquise Wilson. First down, Nittany Lions on a pickup of about 15 yards. First down, Nittany Lions with 9 minutes, and now under 9 minutes to play. 38-10. Also in the ball game for Penn State, out of the gun is number 2, Taquan Roberson. And at quarterback, we have number 85, Harrison Wallace, it looks like, from Sweet Home, Alabama. Up top of your screen with Marquise Wilson, number 8. And then Winston Churchill Eubanks in the ball game as well, number 89 himself. Handoff from Roberson up the middle to number 28, Devin Ford. Yes, we've seen, for the most part, a good fair share of the receivers now today. Running back in motion, Roberson pass complete. That is to number 8, Marquise Wilson. Another big Penn State first down with 7:57 to play. We got Marquise Wilson, Winston Eubanks, and Harrison Wallace in at receivers. Tyler Warren at tight end, Ford in at running back, and Roberson at quarterback. Pass complete to Eubanks, number 89. And yeah, he is another transfer for the Nittany Lions. Is about to get to that. First catch for him all season long. Transferred up from South Central Pennsylvania at Shippensburg. And, of course, buried on the depth chart just like everybody else that's currently out there playing. But go back to Franklin. And I know I didn't get to talking about him and USC a whole lot like I thought I was going to again today. But I'll digress there again. We'll get to it when we get to it eventually. Passing near side, incomplete. Intended for number 85, Harrison Wallace, a true freshman receiver from the state of Alabama, as both Auburn and Alabama are at home later on tonight. But yeah, the way Penn State's been able to recruit, and then all the transfer they took in this past year as well, they can plug and play as they see fit. Roberson from the 38, third and 8 actually for Penn State as well, looking to throw. Over the middle, incomplete. That pass for Roberson, I don't know if he sort of like checked it down, but he didn't like get rid of it like fully. Like he like, I don't know. just seemed like he didn't know where he wanted to go with that ball. Penn State on the punt right now, lining up in an odd formation. 5 receivers near side. They're going to punt. So they beat everybody deep. Fair catch signal for at the 5-yard line by Villanova. So 6:26 now to play. Penn State leads 38-10. As Stitch is about to send Nova back to space in their road loss here today at Penn State. But we still have some time left. Backups are in. See how the defense continues to play. They just gave a touchdown on the last drive, just as they did to Ball State as well a couple weeks back. So at least, I guess, like I said, then you know they can play. I mean, they're on the team for a reason, for one. But then you also know why they're backups. Why they're not playing all the time. But then, if they can get their chance, get out there and make some plays, well, maybe, they'll get more playing time then eventually, too. Just how it works out. But Penn State's going to pick up the win here. We're jumping around on Fox, starting fourth quarter with Notre Dame and Wisconsin. So, pack it up, pack it in. They'll begin the fourth quarter here momentarily, and we'll see if Fighting Irish or Wisconsin Badgers, to make the Big Ten look good as well, can pick up the win. Notre Dame fans are jumping up and down. As with Notre Dame and Wisconsin, are meeting today for the first time since 1964. So a lot of older matchups, not rivalry renewals by any means, but I mean, you look at Penn State and Villanova here playing for the first time in 70 years. And back then, I believe they played at some high school, if I'm not mistaken. But yeah, so got some time left here. We'll talk, I know I said once again about Franklin and USC. We'll talk about that at some point in time in the near future, hopefully. Maybe during Penn State's bye week. Maybe I'll hop on late at night sometime to recap everything that happened that day. Just technically, it's not an off week. Like, you keep running from the start of the season till the end of the season, even with Penn State having a bye week. And then you talk about, Penn State with James Franklin, USC, and who could potentially replace him if he'd leave. I mean, I said what I said earlier, but there's a potential few candidates for both jobs, as always, but will it work out? Who knows? Gotta get through these final 5 minutes and change, and then the next game, and the next game after that, and the next game after that, and so on and so forth. So, I mean, I feel, especially if they lose at Iowa, those rumors would really heat up that, okay, he's gone or he's going to leave. We'll see. But Penn State now on defense, giving up some big plays as Jalen Jackson snuck through the hole and picked up a big Villanova first down before being wrapped up by number 21, Tyler Rudolph. Pass over the middle, complete, first down. Nova. Also still to come, though, tonight in college football. Good one on the Pac-12 network at 6 o'clock, UCLA and Stanford. Buffalo and Old Dominion, Charleston Southern and East Carolina. Raging Cajun of the Louisiana Lafayette and Georgia Southern as well. Texas Southern and Rice. A couple good ones also in the SEC and Big Ten. Tennessee, Florida, Nebraska, Michigan State. Also, we'll add in the Big 12 to that mix as well. Kansas State, Oklahoma State. Kentucky, South Carolina. North Texas, La Tech, Navy, and Houston. Southern Miss plays at Alabama. They're going to get rolled by the Tide. West Virginia, Oklahoma. Akron, Ohio State, North Carolina, Georgia Tech. And then also still to come later on tonight, Florida Atlantic, Air Force, UAB, Tulane, Indiana at Western Kentucky, as mentioned. For any Penn Staters that would be interested in watching that game before the Hoosiers roll into Happy Valley next week. Troy and Louisiana Monroe, Hawaii, New Mexico State, New Mexico and UTEP. And then in some Pac-12 after dark, Cal, Washington, Arizona, Oregon, Oregon State, USC, Colorado, Arizona State. And then BYU also host South Florida. And then following today's game with Villanova and Penn State, the Wildcats of Villanova are going to be off next week. For anybody that is currently listening that roots for one of the few college football teams from Philadelphia. Following week, though, on October the 9th, the same day Penn State plays at Iowa, Villanova will play at James Madison. Penn State next week, though, will host Indiana next Saturday night as Notre Dame retakes the lead with a big rushing touchdown to the house. Make it 16-10 pending the extra point. As there's a penalty flag on the field. 1st and 15 now for Villanova from midfield. And excuse me, it is now 16-13. Notre Dame pending the extra point to make it a 4-point lead. So this extra point is going to be key. Kick up and good. So they show the Penn State schedule. I've talked about it how many times already this season and today. You know, it's Villanova today, Indiana at Iowa, got a bye week, Illinois at Ohio State, at Maryland, Michigan, Rutgers, and then at Michigan State on the Saturday after Thanksgiving. And then Big Ten title game, early December, and then bowl season, of course, with college football playoff, the national championship game as well, whoever makes it that far. So, third down for Villanova, Austin 3:16 to play. And once again, thank you for everybody who tuned in today. Thank you for tuning in and listening. Audio only, live watch-along reactions, live right here on YouTube. As always, I'm your host, Encyclopedia Sports, CoolHandLuke96. Give me a follow over on old Twitter, at CoolHandLuke96. Links in the description below. As always, be sure to like, follow, and subscribe on social media as well. Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and right here on YouTube as well. Links in the description. Hit that red subscribe button, notification bell next to it as well, so you can get notified when 1, I'm live, 2, new videos published, or 3, just if you want to check out the channel. Thumbs up button as well. Share on social media. Hashtag college football, hashtag we are Penn State with a 4-0 start to 2021. And thanks for all the chat questions and comments. But thank you once again. Always greatly appreciate you for tuning in and listening. Listening, watching, however you want to put it. Villanova, Penn State, live watch-along reactions live right here on YouTube. Hopefully they'll tune in tomorrow as well for more live watch-along reactions in the NFL with Bengals Steelers, along with Sunday Night Football and WWE Extreme Rules. And then on Monday night for Monday Football and Monday Night Raw. But then next week, Penn State hosting Indiana next Saturday night, 7:30 ABC in the Stripe Out. As the Nittany Lions are looking for revenge against the Hoosiers for how that game ended last year. It was not a touchdown. Penn State's trying to hold Villanova out of the end zone. They can't do so. Villanova with another passing touchdown here in the fourth quarter to make it 38-16. Like I said earlier, I didn't think they'd cover the 30-point spread. They're not going to. And nice catch. Feet in bounds for a few steps. Villanova scores, but Penn State's going to hold on to win. Score right now, 38-16, pending this upcoming extra point. Make it 38-17, but if you had Penn State to cover, it's not going to happen. 38-17. 38-17, Nittany Lions here. Minute and a half to play. I don't believe either team's taking any timeouts here in the second half. If so, maybe one for one of the two teams, but Penn State back on offense. I'm sure Villanova is gonna kick an onside kick coming up, but if they do kick it deep, hey, we're done for. Like, we scored, but this game's over with. I mean, they could make it interesting. Say they, would get the onside kick, drive and score real quick. Down 2 scores, score again after that. A couple more onside kicks in between all that. Tie it all up. Yeah, that's not going to happen. No. Penn State will just take a knee on offense when they get the ball back anyway. Because Villanova is just not going to call my timeouts. Penn State's not either. Just hopefully go back to beginning of the second half. Hopefully that Villanova player that got injured, hopefully he's all right. That looked serious. Did see some movement, though, once they carted him off, but hopefully he's okay. I'm sure he's getting checked out. I'm not in here right now anyway, but well, some final stats and scores with some thoughts and opinions as well momentarily once this game wraps up and goes final. It's currently 38-17 Penn State. We'll see if that stays put or not. Thing is, they had so many chances, so many different opportunities to score more points than what they did today. I mean, it really could have been worse. It could be closer than what it is right now. But really, it should have been 10 times better. Not barely, but they squeak by Villanova 38-17 right now. Not final just yet, but, arguably should have put up 50, 55, maybe even 60. So we'll see what happens. I mean, next week, hopefully they start fast and they give it to Indiana and show the country in primetime again in the big games for Penn State this year that, hey, we're showing up in these big games, but these smaller games, like, okay, we're there, but not really. But now non-conference is going to be done with. This is Big Ten football. Okay? You got Indiana coming up, Iowa. Bye week, like I said, at a perfect time, but they could honestly really be in for a rude awakening over the next month or so if they don't get their act straight. So Villanova on to kick off.
Headed towards their 20th straight non-conference home win. 13 straight regular season.
They kick it deep, so Penn State's getting the ball back. Both teams still have all 3 timeouts. Penn State will just take a knee. Matt Millen just stated Nittany Lions are 2 yards shy of 500 total for the game. They're not going to run a play. He knows damn well they're not going to run a play. And he knows damn well if Joe Paterno was still head coach, they wouldn't be running the play either. Or if Bill O'Brien was in charge. Okay? James Franklin now, but in this first ever meeting, the first time since 1951, dating back 70 years for Villanova and Penn State, the Nittany Lions are going to come out on top, as expected. I was hoping for a little bit better of an outcome because they should have scored more points than what they did today, but they didn't. Got 2 defensive interceptions as well. Had almost 4 pick sixes. Got after quarterback a couple different times on a few sacks. Running game is starting to get there, but they still don't have a running game. They got to be more balanced and consistent there. Can't be throwing it all the time with Clifford. But if he's going to be throwing it, as he did last week and today, all the time, then so be it. But then hopefully you would still be able to find a running game and play good defense. And, I mean, especially with the way the defense is played, as stout as they are, they'll be in every single game. And like I said, start of the year, after last week, and I'll say it again today, as I said it already a few times today, this team has the potential to do something special this year. They got by Villanova today. Indiana, Iowa next 2 weeks. They can go to Iowa City and beat the Hawkeyes in a top 5 showdown, along with going to Ohio State at the end of the month of October, about a month or so from now, day before Halloween on the 30th, with 2 trap games with Indiana and Illinois in between those 2 road games right before, and then get to November with a tough schedule as well. You got to be kidding me. Are you serious? Villanova with a pick 6. So we do get a pick 6. But it comes on the other side with Villanova returning one, as I thought it would have been, or it was a fumble scoop and score, excuse me. But he's down. Tank is down. He's down. That ball's not out. He's down. That's going to come back. You got to review that. You got to look at that. It was a scoop and score, fumble return for a touchdown. He's down now. His ass is on the ground. Ball still in arm. Then the ball comes out. That's down by contact. There's no fumble. There's no defensive touchdown. It'll stay 38-17. Previous plays under further review. Surprised it took them until under a minute to play to review a play today at a Penn State home game. But, yeah, you better think about it. You better tell me something good at the end of it as well. And, yeah, he's down. They've lucked out. I mean, just take a goddamn knee now, please. I don't know why you're running the football. Just get out of Dodge with a win. Because who knows? Somebody might have got hurt on that play. He's down. Down by a mile and some. And there's no fumble. There's no scoop and score. There's no fumble return for a touchdown for Villanova. But, no, like I was saying, this team, they have the potential to be very special and do something special for Penn State football this year, especially after last year. And get by those tough road games, a couple more tough games in November as well. Get into November, just get to October next Saturday first, okay, on the 2nd, with the first next Friday, and then Indiana rolls in before Iowa, okay? You go to Iowa City and then a bye week, and that's Illinois at Ohio State. But then get to November, and hopefully by that point you would hope, everything would be in full gear. And just hopefully they don't get to an 8-9, 10-0 start, and then just as Penn State likes to do when they get to those, they always find a way to lose one of those games in November, and then the season's down the drain. So there is some serious potential with Penn State football. He's down. He's down by contact. There's no fumble. It's going to be Penn State football. No touchdown. Villanova's disagreeing with it. They know it just as much as Penn State does that he's down. So they're going to reverse it. Down, ball in hand, no fumble, no touchdown. Penn State football should be, second down? Yeah. 20 seconds to play. Just take a knee. Just take a knee, please. Be done with this. Okay, they add about 12 seconds back on the clock. 32 seconds to play. Just take a knee. I mean, if Villanova wanted to do something the Scum City of Philly would want to do and call a timeout and try to stop the clock, then so be it. But take a damn knee. Should have done this a couple plays ago, and you wouldn't have had to review that fumble. Clock's running. Just take a knee. Penn State's going to win it. 38-17, your final score. Defeating Villanova, a top 10 team in the FCS. They had some trouble. Still don't have a running game. Post-game handshake. Hopefully that Villanova player is all right. That was injured early second half on the opening kickoff in the third quarter. But now, as the clock strikes 0, your final score here, 10 after 3 this Saturday afternoon. Penn State and their next to last home game during this 4-game homestand before they travel to Iowa City to play the Iowa Hawkeyes. They defeat Villanova once again, 38-17 to start 4-0. And now post-game interview with head coach James Franklin. See what he has to say. Did they sustain drives in the second half, as he said at halftime? The backups, the two defensive or the two offensive clean shit up in the running game. Yeah, no doubt about it. No, Penn State on defense gave up 2 offensive passing touchdowns by Villanova in the fourth quarter. They were a 30-point home favorite. It was 31-3 or 38-3, excuse me. So they were fine. And then they give up those 2 touchdowns, and they don't cover. So like I said earlier, if you had Nova plus the points or Penn State not to cover, well, one hit and the other didn't. So Franklin is happy they're 1-0. That's all you can ask for right now. They still have to find a goddamn running game, though. Jesus Christ. How hard is it to run the fucking football?
James Franklin with Lee Spinnaker on the field here in Happy Valley. 38-17.
So in the Thon game for Penn State today, for the kids, Penn State in the first meeting against Villanova for the first time since 1951 defeat the Wildcats in this second straight game in a battle of cats for Penn State, defeating Auburn. The Tigers of Auburn last Saturday, 28-20 in the whiteout, defeat Villanova today, 38-17. The Hoosiers of Indiana will roll into Happy Valley next Saturday night as Penn State will open up the Big Ten with one Big Ten win already on the season to kick off the year at Wisconsin, 16-10. They trail, Wisconsin does, Notre Dame by 4, fourth quarter on Fox for anybody interested. Texas has 70 on Texas Tech. And then LSU, Mississippi State, Tigers lead the Bulldogs by 11, 28-17, middle of the fourth quarter. Also in college football, before we get some final stats and scores, and once more, thank you for tuning in and listening. Minnesota still trails Bowling Green by 4, 14-10. Nothing else really close. These 3:30 games about to kick off. If you're a Pitt fan, play the lottery tonight. Go to the casino. The Panthers beat New Hampshire 77-7. Georgia beat Vandy 62-0. Army, Virginia Tech, along with Temple, all won as well. And then everything else is still ongoing. But in the Penn State win, 38-17 over Villanova.
Before we talk about tax-smart investing, what's new? Well, Audrey's expecting.
Daniel Smith had a big second half, more so fourth quarter. Finished 20 of 34 for 222 passing yards, with 2 fourth quarter passing touchdowns as well, along with, it says 1 interception, but there was 2 on the day for him. And then they had on the ground Jackson, 7 carries for 58 yards rushing, Covington, 6 carries for 15 yards rushing. Pringle had 4 catches for $107 and 2 scores. And Summers had 5 catches, 45 yards. Hayek, wonder if he's related to Salma, has, probably not, has 4 catches for 26 yards. Boykin, 2 of 19. And then Barley, 2 of 14. But Penn State in the win. Clifford, as Taquan Roberson came in relief, Roberson finished 3 of 5 for 28 passing yards. Clifford was 19 of 26 for 401 yards passing, 4 touchdowns, and an interception. John, I like it. I love it. I want some more of it. Had 11 carries for 45 yards. Kevon Lee, 7 of 21. Keziah Holmes had a carry for 9 yards. Don't know how I missed that, but yeah, he had a carry for 9 yards. Tank Smith, 1 for 9. Along with Devin Ford, 2 of 4. Kyler Warren, 1 carry for 3 yards on the Wildcat line formation. Touchdown run for him as well. Noah Kane, 1 for 2. And then Taquan Roberson had a carry for 2 yards as well. Penn State receiving. Parker Washington led the way, 5 catches, 148 yards rushing, 2 touchdowns. Jahan Dotson, 7 for 117 in the score. Keandre Lambert-Smith had 2 catches for 88 yards. 83 of those was on 1 catch, though, for a touchdown. And then Marquise Wilson, 2 catches for 26 yards. Johnson, 1 for 25. Sullivan Brown, 1 for 12. Brenton Strange also catch for 9 yards. Eubanks, 1 for 2. Lovett and Lee also had a catch for a yard apiece out of the backfield as well. So those are your final stats and scores, with a 38-17 leaf-blowing win for the Penn State Nittany Lions over the Villanova Wildcats here this afternoon, as Penn State improves to 4-0. Villanova drops to 3-1 loss. Villanova will play at James Madison 2 weeks from Harrisonburg in the FCS and the CAA, which that should be a good game. And then Penn State hosts Indiana next week. And then at Iowa once again before the bye week. So, long story short, but it'll probably end up being long story long since I'm talking. Penn State, they need to find a running game. Plain and simple. Okay, end of story in that discussion. Need to find a running game. It seemed like they went in reverse order with really no Devin Ford or Keziah Holmes. As Penn State celebrates, ringing the victory bell. Yeah, it was Noah Kane and Kevon Lee early on, but then they just took Noah Kane out. So hopefully he's all right. Hopefully he's not injured again. That'll be a huge blow if so. But I noticed, like I said, especially on defense in the secondary, Keaton Ellis and Johnny Dixon, and then up on the defensive line as well with a few players, they were rotating guys in and out all game long. They just weren't waiting until they got out to, second half lead, and then they put all the subs in at once. No, they played it smart. They did. Got a lot of guys, a lot of playing time, a lot of experience today, and it'll work itself all out eventually, no matter when. But it was John Lovett sort of finding a running game for Penn State in the second half, and then it was Kevon Lee and then Noah Kane, and then, like I said, Devin Ford's sort of been put on the back burner in the backfield. I mean, he's still running the football, but he's more of a threat now in the return game. And like I said, I'm surprised I missed, I don't know how I did, but Keziah Holmes getting in for a carry. So his first action of the season as well. But they have to find a running game. Clifford, no wonder he's throwing for 400 yards and 4 touchdowns. He did have a pick too. And moves to second all-time in Penn State football history with passing touchdowns, now only trailing Trace McSorley. Like I said earlier, I don't believe he'll eclipse that mark with only now 8 more regular season games to play in his college career this season in 2021. But yeah, I mean, it was Clifford to Jahan Dotson on the first play of the game. 52-yard passing touchdown. It set the course, 7-0, 7-3. There's a field goal missed as well. There's also a field goal that should have been a touchdown. There's a couple more field goals that, because they took a few sacks, it just started going backwards instead of forwards to the right end zone ahead of them rather than Villanova's behind them. That they, of course, like I said, had to punt. Should have had a few more points on those. It's sort of, cause at halftime, what was it, 17-3? And, you know, laid into them at halftime that, like, okay, they sort of started fast today, but not really. Like, it really slowed down. And they just couldn't execute. They couldn't capitalize off of every little thing. And I get, like I said, you're not going to do that all the time. But when it's there and you have all the chances in the world to do it, I don't care who the hell you're playing against. Like, it's just disappointing. It's frustrating that they didn't score more points than what they probably should have today in a 38-17 win against Villanova. You know, it could have been a whole lot closer, especially late. If, say, they won, got rolling and Villanova started to come back like they did, you know, those 2 passing touchdowns in the fourth quarter, backups on defense gave up, and, you know, that's why they're not starting. And that's 2 of the last 3 games that's happened against Ball State and Villanova now. And, you know, at least other than Wisconsin and Auburn, Ball State and Villanova today didn't come down to the final play of the game or didn't come down to the wire and, you know, take us to Heart Attack City by any means. Next week and the week after that, yeah, we'll get back out on the road to go there for sure, probably. But, I mean, with Northwestern winning, hopefully Wisconsin can come back and defeat Notre Dame here. You know, the rest of the Big Ten playing decent so far this season. I mean, we've got some games about to kick off momentarily here at 3:30. You know, it's still wide open. Penn State, Iowa, Ohio State, Wisconsin, Michigan. I mean, everybody might take each other out at some point in time this season too, but they'll, and when I say they'll, I mean Penn State, they'll figure it out. They'll get rolling here. Because, as I said, if the defense can continue to play as they played, literally all season long, really both sides of the ball, and kicking game, another missed field goal, that needs to change. They sort of took a back seat today, they did. Cupcake or no cupcake, cakewalk or no cakewalk. Villanova came at 3-0 just like they did. And, you know, like I said, interesting to see how long it was going to take for them to, you know, pull away or not almost blow it near, should I say, but just how long really would it take and what would it take for Penn State to do what they had to do to pick up the win? Yeah, they have to find a running game. It starts up front. Offensive line looks shitty today because Clifford got sacked a few times. You know, he's running for his life. No wonder he was throwing as well for as much as he did. But if he's going to continue to throw like he is, running game gets going, defense continues to play, you know, the way they have, just wait. They're going to be playing 10 times better football than what they are right now. But, I mean, a win's a win. They picked up the win, but they sort of took a back seat. They didn't really look good from start to finish. They went through phases. That's how it was today. You know, should have had a few more interceptions, maybe a defense score or two as well, but of course not. Refs were all right, weren't that bad. You know, like I said, play calling could be a little bit better, but at least they're hitting explosive plays But if only, once again, they can find a running game. Because you got to be balanced. You got to be consistent. And like I said, whether it's Noah Kane, Kevon Lee, John Lovett, and then Devin Ford, Keziah Holmes in the mix as well. I don't care who it is. Just find a running game. Especially now into Big Ten play. Tough road schedule to come still. I mean, knew this going in. And this 4-game homestand is going to come to an end next week. And then are going to have another home game for, 3 weeks? And then they're off for another couple weeks on the road. So, and then we're at Thanksgiving and the end of the season. So, yeah. Just, I need to put up a sign behind me, along with, I think Penn State should probably do the same. Above every door in the building, on every brick, on every wall, in every building. Do what you got to do, but running game, fix it. Figure it out. Because they're playing damn good football, they are. And like I said, they have potential to be special and have a lot of success this season in 2021. One game at a time, though, 1-0 mentality. Standard's a standard. You worry about really what's right in front of you. And then you'll figure out the rest later, of course. That's why I said earlier, I felt like to an extent they looked a little too far ahead past Villanova to Indiana next week, and figured they could just roll them when they didn't, because they had a little trouble, but not really. It was just that they didn't execute. They didn't convert on myself personally, and I feel like the rest of the nation as well, as much as they should have, because they should have scored more points than they did today, no doubt about it. 38-17 win against Villanova at home before Indiana rolls in next week. But really, I mean, okay, you had a missed field goal. That's 41. You had another 2 times where you ended up punting, but you were in field goal range. There's 47, but one of those was supposed to be a touchdown. So early mid-50s, and then the interception and maybe another drive or two. Really, Penn State probably should have put up 55, 60 points today in a win against Villanova. But they did not. They win 38-17 at home against Villanova. Win's a win, but they got to fix some issues that they got before they get into the thick of it, starting right now, next week, for the Big Ten, with a win already against a Big Ten opponent this year at Wisconsin, 16-10. They'll have Indiana and then at Iowa. Get through those 2 games, bye week, and then we'll go from there. So I'll leave it at that. But, yeah, to an extent, they looked pretty good, but then, once again, no running game. None. Sort of came alive again in the second half. And, I mean, if it comes down to it and they can run the football when needed and they do everything else right beforehand, then so be it. You do what you got to do to win. Because all anybody ever remembers is the final score. At the end of the day, whether you won or lost, and Penn State has another win in the win column to start off 4-0 here in 2021, defeating Villanova once again by a final score of 38-17. Got some updates here in the meantime as well, as Minnesota loses to Bowling Green. 14-10 BG over Minnesota. Wisconsin seems like they're going to lose as well. Got some games about to kick off coming up here in a couple minutes as well at 3:30. But now the Big Ten's not looking like they're going to get any jobs done today. Got a few conference games, though. Like I said, Michigan and Rutgers, along with Nebraska, and Michigan State as well. Both from the Big House in Ann Arbor and in East Lansing at Spartan Stadium. So both Big Ten Michigan schools at home this afternoon. And then, like I said, Penn State gets into it next week with Indiana. But, yeah, I'll leave it at that. They defeat Villanova once again, 38-17. So one game at a time. We'll take on Penn State, the Indiana Hoosiers, next Saturday night. Hopefully, we'll tune in for live watch-along reactions then, live right here on YouTube. And as always, thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. Audio only this afternoon, as always. But, yeah, sure like, follow, and subscribe on social media. Links in the description below. Facebook, Twitter, Instagram right here on YouTube. Thumbs up button, red subscribe button. And hopefully tune in tomorrow and on Monday as well for more live watch-along reactions as well in the NFL and professional wrestling. And then next weekend for the Penn State revenge game, hosting the Indiana Hoosiers in the Stripe Out following their final non-conference game and win today from right here in Happy Valley Beaver Stadium, defeating Villanova by a final score once again of 38-17.